If we based it on getting positives from this game, the show would be over in 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. I mean, I would just say this real quick, and then you guys can have at it. I've talked enough for the day, but I never really did think the Chargers were a team that I saw on tape over the last 3 weeks or so. They did play Dallas and Kansas City the last 2 weeks. They have good talent. Their offensive line was suspect, but they have good talent, and I thought they were a better team than the record showed, so maybe this will give them the spark that they needed. At the Bears' expense, unfortunately, but it was going to be a tough day here to begin with, in my opinion, and it surely was tougher than it probably needed to be the way the Bears played.
All right, JJ, thank you very much. We know you're going to get downstairs and meet up with the head coach, Matt Eberflus. All right, Yurko, the Bears failed to pick up back-to-back wins under the primetime lights. This is the old-fashioned woulda, coulda, shoulda. Would have had a couple of touchdowns, could have had a couple of turnovers, should have brought a couple of guys down before they gave up so many yards after the catch. Tackling was terrible.
Just a bad football game. You almost went out to L.A. and you're in La La Land and all types of great things are happening out there and everything's fancy and the sun's out and you leave dreary Chicago and you go over there and you just absolutely you piddle one away. That's what you did. I didn't expect them to go and win this week anyway. You looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year. Hey, the Bears going out to play the Chargers. You didn't expect it, but you expected to see. You build on something that you did last week, and you built upon nothing you did. Guys that played well. Darnell Wright, Tevin Jenkins. Cole Kmet had a lot of receptions, but I guess you became Bagent's favorite target today. So let's just say he had a bunch of receptions. Defensively, you just took it. That's what you did. You just took it. You absorbed it and you took it. Like Joe Palooka, the fighter. Like a guy that's in there fighting Muhammad Ali and you're just in there to cash a check and you're there to get punched in the face for 15 rounds and hoping you can find a way to survive. That's what the Bears were today. They just kept taking shot after shot after shot after shot, hoping that at some point they could survive. And they didn't. They lost 2-6. You're not quite halfway there. Halfway next week is going to be, a little bit over the top. Halfway there. You bring no joy. You bring no anything to the fans of Chicago. Nothing. And the Tyler Bagent story, secret Bagent man, as my son told me, double Bagent man. That's what you got. That's what you got today. Double Bagent man. The guy that looked like he was on your team, looked like he was on your side, but may not exactly be what everybody thinks he is. So
Tyson Bagent, 25 of 37 to finish the game with 232 yards passing, finishes with 2 interceptions, a sack, and a quarterback rating, a passer rating of 62. Justin Herbert, he earned his money tonight. 31 of 40. At one point, he was perfect in the first half in double-digit pass attempts. 298 yards passing today, 3 touchdowns, no sacks, 122.7 rating for him. His average per pass was 7.5 yards, but there were times when it looked like he could do what he wanted.
Oh, absolutely.
A very soft defense that they were playing against him. Now, we have to point out, though, they were without their starting safeties. Even though Eddie Jackson was active, we found out in the pregame show that he would only be used as insurance.
Yeah.
And they were without Jaquan Brisker. And at one point, they were without one of their cornerbacks, Stevenson, as well, who went down. But I believe he returned.
Well, they've been without all those guys this year anyway at some point or another.
Right.
These guys have all been injured. So these young guys have been, they've had to come in and they've had to find a way to survive. The calls in the first half were so conservative. You drop guys so far back.
Mm-hmm.
All they did was kind of keep a guy in the block. And then when they couldn't find anybody downfield because you had coverage downfield because everybody was 15 yards downfield, you just gave the ball to your running back or your tight end that was blocking who released late, and he got 10, 12 yards.
Right. Without being touched.
Yeah, without being touched.
100
You were so conservative, and you played it so close to the vest, and you covered everything downfield, but you covered nothing underneath. So
I don't know what the second half stats were, but in the first half, Courtney Cronin had figured it out that the Bears gave up 169 yards after the catch. in the first
Yeah.
half alone.
TJ Edwards, he's a local product too, by the way. TJ Edwards, the former Eagle, the current Bear, came unblocked on the screen pass that I believe went for the touchdown, right?
Yes.
Unblocked. His jock is still on the field somewhere in that stadium because he got faked out of it, standing there, whiffed, went by. Ole goes the native of Mexico. And there went Eckler. And where did he go? Into the end zone. And what was TJ Edmonds doing? Nothing. There with a handful of nothing. So he may have had the most tackles today. He may have jumped on a fumble. Congratulations. But as far as making any impact plays whatsoever, falling on a fumble is not an impact play. Somebody did the hard work. The ball just squirted out to you, and you flopped down on it. Flopping down on a football is not a skill, okay? So he may have had the most tackles, but he did not play a stellar game. 49 did not play a stellar game. When you invest money in your linebackers before you invest money in your defensive line, you make a mistake. You make a mistake. So Ryan Poles investing money in the defensive line and not in the linebacker group and not in the defensive line is the wrong way to build a football team, period. That's it. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. You ask Urlacher and you ask Briggs, when were they playing their best football? When they had Ted Washington and Keith Traylor in front of them.
Right.
Those guys were monsters up front. Their lives were a whole lot easier back there. So you did what you did. You did it wrong either way. And then the other guy you keep for the love of everything holy. I don't understand why he's still on the team. You drafted a grandfather a couple of years ago.
Oh, Velus
I
Jones
feel like
Jr.
he's a grandfather. 26, what was he? 29, 45? I don't know what he was.
25.
25-year-old Velus Jones Jr. Okay, when they say the moment is too big for you, when you hear those immortal words out of somebody, the moment is too big for you. The ball was underthrown. I'm going to give you the ball's underthrown.
The touchdown.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't a touchdown. It should have been a touchdown.
The would-be touchdown.
Yeah, the would-be touchdown.
One of three would-be touchdowns.
Not a touchdown. When they say the words, the moment is too big for you, that is for Velus Jones Jr. Why he is still on this roster, I have no idea. Ryan Poles, for the idiocy that happened with Chase Claypool, at least there was a science to it. All right, hey, this guy had a year. He did something special at the NFL level. Maybe we go and we get a weapon. We add a weapon. We got a year next year. We find out what complete failure. But at what point do you know that Velus Jones Jr. now just can't play? Can't play. Was it the penalty where he ran into the punt returner for the other team? Was it the many fumbles he had last year? Was it when he's sitting wide open in the end zone and he can't level himself off? He can't, with balance, maintain his feet when the ball is going to drop into his boiler? When do you realize that the moments, multiple moments, over the course of multiple games, that it is just too big for him and he is not an NFL player? When do you realize that? But I digress. There's bigger problems on this team, but I think 76 and 58, they played well. And Lucas Patrick, if Lucas Patrick is the answer at center, you don't know what the questions are. Lucas Patrick is horrific. He's horrid. He was signed specifically to pacify the offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, to bring in a former Green Bay guy that he was comfortable with, who he thought could play center. He is terrible. That's why your offensive coordinator is not a talent evaluator. What your offensive coordinator is a guy that calls plays and coordinates the offense. He doesn't evaluate talent. You don't let people have what they want just because they think, oh, he's such a good guy. We don't want good guys. I want bad guys on my team. I want mean guys on my team. It's horrific. You could go through this whole roster and it'll make you cringe. It'll make your soul cringe. It'll make your heart not go pitter-patter for the good things that could happen in the world. No, that's not what it's going to do. It's going to, like, your Ford Chambers want to shut down watching the Bears play and watch some of these players out there. Your heart wants to shut down out of sadness and grief. because this is the crap they do every time they travel, every time they play in a big national spotlight game. What do? Right down their pant leg. They piddle down it. I swear to the heavens, it's awful. It's nonstop. It's incessant. And they could tell me they could change everything over there. And I guess what? It's going to be the same crap. Wait, we got a Thursday night game again coming up? How? How can't we be flexed out of that? We got a Monday night game later in the year? Tell me, for the love of everything holy, that we can't get these games changed. Let's go back to noon on Sunday. That way my misery is over at 5 o'clock, and I can go home and try to brighten my mood for the rest of the day into Monday and start the week out right. This is terrible. Terrible. It's awful. You can't watch this crap over and over and then tell me that there's something positive. I saw some good signs. Who saw good signs? 312-332-3776. For the idiot that's out there, it's going to tell me you saw good signs. Sorry, Peggy, I had to go.
It's a Sunday. You can preach.
Awful.
You got the phone number. We'll take your calls when we come back.
Touchdown, Chicago. Bill Jacobs Auto Group is all about commitment to excellence. As a third-generation family-run business, we tackle every day with passion and pride, just like our beloved team. Experience the Bill Jacobs way. Top-notch service is the name of the game. With a winning lineup of new and used vehicles, fair and upfront pricing, we're the dealership that scores big. Visit Bill Jacobs Auto Group today and drive home a winner. Bill Jacobs. The cars bring you in and the experience brings you back.
Long week? It's time for a smooth Tito's handmade vodka cocktail. Staying in or going out, serving cocktails for two, or mixing drinks for the party. Barbecuing in the backyard, or snagging your favorite bar stool. No matter the occasion, just add Tito's to kick off the weekend just right. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and is naturally gluten-free. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
It's almost November 1st, which means open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace is around the corner. If you need health insurance, visit getcoveredillinois.gov, where a certified local navigator can help you choose a health plan that fits you and your family's needs. You can compare health plans side by side, and you may even qualify for financial help. Remember, open enrollment starts on November 1st. Visit getcoveredillinois.gov. Your health coverage starts here.
Do you hear that? That is the sound of BMW performance without a single piston or cylinder. A generation of all-electric vehicles designed and built like no other. The BMW iX, i7, and i4 revolutionize every drive into a thrilling opportunity to feel the pure rush of BMW 100% electric. But isn't that what you'd expect from the ultimate electric driving machine? Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance offers today.
Want to live life at max volume? Then look no further than Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana. With over 1,700 slots, 80 table games, live entertainment, and 5 restaurants which span a wide range of culinary genres, we are sure to have something for everyone. Whether you want to indulge in a savory dish at Council Oak Steaks and Seafood, or take in dinner and live music at the world-renowned Hard Rock Cafe. Amplify your entertainment experience at Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana, just off Exit 6, I-8094. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays, bliss on Mondays. Going deep dish, going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Dear football fans, at Toyota, we've assembled a hard-nosed championship team. Check out the RAV4's versatile ground game. Get behind the wheel of the Camry and see how this competitor gets its all to win. Or enjoy the Highlander, a big-bodied defender with plenty of room to carry your squad. Plus, all these vehicles come with available all-wheel drive, so you can tackle any terrain. Visit Toyota.com to learn more or check out your local Toyota dealership today. Toyota, let's go places.
Football fans, put someone on your team that's ready to fight for you. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Our team combines technology and expertise to deliver a first-class client experience and get you the wins that you deserve. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4MILLION or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4MILLION.
Money saved through energy efficiency can directly benefit a business's bottom line. That's why businesses throughout Northern Illinois are partnering with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program to find up to 35% in energy savings, resulting in lower energy costs for their facilities. Because at ComEd, we're powering your business's future. Learn more at comed.com/poweringbiz. ComEd, powering lives. Savings figure is hypothetical only. Actual savings will vary based on the measures implemented and on customers' usage and rate.
Okay, so greaterness isn't technically a word, but in Peoria, Illinois, it might as well be. You see, they're all about greater here. Greater jobs, greater work-life balance, greater opportunities to grow your career. That's a whole lot of greaterness. With hundreds of open positions in a variety of fields, from healthcare to manufacturing to education, even the job prospects are greater. Visit choosegreaterpeoria.org to elevate your career.
Work zone ahead. Slow down, obey signs, and proceed with caution to advance. If you're a pro at navigating your favorite game, you shouldn't have any trouble when it comes to work zones. Failure to obey work zone speed limits can put lives at risk, whether workers are present or not. And remember, in real life, you can't just hit the reset button. It's not a game. Visit itsnotagameillinois.com to learn more.
Former Bear Lance Briggs is live in studio with Cap and J Hood tomorrow morning at 9:30 on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago.
Here comes the ball.
Welcome to the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network. Brought to you by Great Clips is gonna be great by Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, and by Miller Lite. And now, the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network.
Here are your hosts, Peggy Kaczynski and John Yurkovich.
You are listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. At Great Clips, their online check-in app saves you time on haircuts. With just a few taps, you can get in and out with a fresh haircut. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Also, join the greatest salon team. Visit jobs.greatclips.com. All salons are independently owned and operated. Contact your local salon for specific safety measures. Welcome back into the Bears Radio Network and our postgame show. Bears dropped this one, still looking for back-to-back wins in the Matt Eberflus era as a combination of defense, poor tackling, soft coverage, missed opportunities. This one, I'm not sure if they even got off the plane, to be honest with you.
Well, that's why. I mean, the first play of the game, they go downfield 41 yards. Hey, what's going on? You get up, you run, and then all of a sudden you stop. What are you stopping for? Nobody touched you. You know nobody touched you. Get up and start hauling ass to the end zone.
Something must have happened, though, because Darnell Mooney did turn and look, and there was no whistle. You could not hear any whistle unless he thought he heard a whistle. But you're right. He's turning around looking at the defender, who then just kind of like caught up to him.
Contact doesn't matter until you catch the ball. Possession of the ball, then now somebody's got to touch you. You go to the ground, nobody touches you. You got to get up. You got to run. He did. And then for one reason or another, he stopped. Now, maybe 5-6 steps in, a whistle came from across the field. Why? The official that was on the sideline was running with him. It made no sense whatsoever, and maybe it didn't make sense for the players. But you got to make it seem like you want to get there. Nobody touched me. I'm getting to the end zone. I'm hauling blank to get there.
That was one missed opportunity. The Velus Jones Jr. I'm going to tell you, if that's an NFL football player in the end zone, untouched, who slips a lot, who slips and falls, and doesn't have the wherewithal to hang on to the football, the way he was fumbling for that football, you can find a lot of guys that can do that.
Well,
just look in some front yards on Thanksgiving Day, because that's exactly what that looked like.
The individual player is responsible for his ability to corral himself, maintain his balance, and understand there's enough time for that football to come down where I can gather myself and sit under that and probably come down with a touchdown catch, because the corner had given up. The safety was the one that was coming over. It was maybe going to help him make a play on him, but he was a long way away. So it's the individual's responsibility to maintain his balance and look to see where the ball's at and say, okay, I don't have to do anything drastic here. I don't have to get myself kind of off balance to be able to make this play. I could gather myself and get under this thing and catch it with plenty of time, and the guys aren't going to get to me.
And the Bears did gather themselves after that no touchdown by Velus Jones.
So his teammates bailed him out.
Right. And then there was late in the second quarter, Cole Kmet was ruled no forward progress, or forward progress was stopped. He actually was running sideways and broke the tackle, would have been a touchdown. But you know what? At 2-6 now, you're not getting calls, are you?
You're not getting anything. You're not. And matter of fact, when you might have had a little bit of momentum, all you did was shoot yourself in the foot. Lucas Patrick holding. Lucas Patrick blown up for a negative loss. Just it's one thing after the other. The bad things start out. Oh, Cody Whitehair at the guard position.
Let's go back to SoFi Stadium right now. Jeff Joniak is standing by with head coach Matt Eberflus.
All right. Thank you, Peggy and Yurko. Matt, a lot of things went south today on you. Just give us a quick snapshot from your perspective.
Yeah, I really think that when you look at it, I talked to the guys at halftime. We just didn't have a good start. We started out, too many missed tackles on defense. And, we've really done a good job the last 3 weeks. And we've worked hard on it during the week. And we did again this last week. Just, for whatever reason, we did not tackle well. We did not cup the ball, meaning force, pursuit, and apex the ball the right way with our angles. And didn't wrap and run our feet. And you saw that, 3 or 4 or 5 times in there that led to scoring drives. So we got to, get back to work on that, because that's a fundamental to playing good defense. And we've done that the last few weeks. So that's something that showed up, that we did. And then also the penalties, on offense, we knocked ourselves out of some scoring opportunities and knocked ourselves back on the sticks. And you just can't do that. You're playing a team that has a lot of talent. And that's the record doesn't show that right now, but they're a good football team. And, you just can't give those guys a head start like that. Now, going into halftime, we said, hey, guys, we got to do a great job of getting 3 and outs on defense. Got to take the ball away. And we got to do a good job, playing complementary football, on both sides. And, again, on defense, I don't think we did a good job on the first, because we gave them 3 first downs before we stopped them. And they munched all that clock off of there. So I didn't like that. And then offensively, we really didn't get it going until we started going to 2-minute at the end. So again, it's just the Chargers played well. My hat's off to them. But again, we didn't put our best foot forward today.
Matt, speaking of the 2-minute, I was curious that if you ever had where you wanted to gain some possession or time, could you ever take a guy like Tyson and consider a no-huddle offense? It seemed like there's some efficiency when no matter who's playing quarterback that you run the 2-minute offense with a little tempo.
Yeah, and he does a good job of that. He does a good job of that. We had our eye on the possessions. We did it right in terms of going on the ball in 2-minute at the appropriate time and going for those 4th downs. When you're out of possessions there, you have to do that. So and we did it right there. But again, we didn't execute good enough today.
The 2 offensive and defensive line, you come off a game 173 yards rushing. You have those sacks at the Washington game. Looks like you're gaining a little momentum on the line of scrimmage. What'd you think of the overall performance today on that portion of your game?
Yeah, I mean, the sacks, obviously the pressure was okay. We did pressure a little bit, got some hits on the quarterback. Obviously, we didn't get home there. But again, I thought our offensive line did decent, with the protection. I thought that Tyson had time, and when he didn't, he got rid of the ball in those 2-minute drills down to the back. So I thought that was really good. And Cole's 10 for 10, which is good to see. And he distributed it to the skill too, which was good to see.
How is Tremaine Edmonds?
We'll have to wait and see. we'll have to wait and see. I do know this, that he went out and came back in, so that's always a positive sign. So we'll see where it is tomorrow.
And a guy like Tyreek Stevenson, he's going to have a target on him. He's a rookie. That goes without saying. He's not afraid of it, obviously, but and he was very involved in the tackling department today too, with 12 tackles. Just overall view of what he went through today with Justin Herbert and the guys.
Yeah, he's learning as he goes, right? He's a rookie. And there were some situations in there where he made a bunch of tackles, but he's got to be really efficient in his tackling, because when you're a corner and you're tackling on the perimeter, it's really important that you're very efficient at it. So and again, he's going to improve on that.
How do you feel about it? What did you tell the guys? Because you're looking to get some traction here. You had 1, 2, or 3 going on the road against a good team. There's no question about it. The record aside, they have good players. Just what was the message in the locker room after the game?
Yeah, I just said that, guys, we, that first half, we just got to play better fundamentally. I mean, we always talk about doing the basics right, and that's blocking, right? That's tackling, that's protecting our quarterback, that's, pressuring their quarterback, the basics of football. And we've done that the last, few weeks, and we just didn't do it in that first half. And I thought we played better in the second half. Our guys always fight and they always grind it out. But it just wasn't good enough in the first half.
How'd you feel Tyson played overall?
I thought it was solid. I thought it was solid. He's, obviously we had to throw the ball a lot, at that second part, which is, we're more about, running and play action pass. And we had to get into that. And, I thought a couple of those passes, the defense made some good plays, and, he's got to be always good with the ball. And again, I thought he played solid.
All right, Matt, appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
That's Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Back to you guys, Peggy and Yurko. Yurko, you are on fire, by the way, buddy.
Well, thank you there.
Yeah, I would say that's the least. That's the Church of Yurko here. Thank you, JJ. We appreciate it. As this started out going into this game, Yurk, as a game of embattled head coaches, both on the hot seat. Matt Eberflus is now 5-20 and is still looking for his first win streak as a head coach of the Chicago Bears. Brandon Staley, with a definitive win, may have cooled off his seat.
Yeah, I think Staley gets to stick around for a couple of more weeks. They put their schedule up there, so it looks like they've got some winnable games. I know they got Green Bay up there. Our 4 teams against the AFC West are gone.
Yes, we're done with the AFC
Done.
West.
First 8 AFC West are gone. Now you play nothing but NFC and NFC rivals. There might be that 17th game that goes up against some AFC opponent that I'm not familiar with right now. But as far as going against the AFC West, you are done. And I think the Bears were what, 1-3?
Against the AFC,
Yeah,
yes.
1-3 against the yeah. Congratulations. No, not Denver.
No,
Vegas.
Vegas, that's right.
Vegas. No, you found a way to lose to Denver.
Yeah.
Maybe not bad maybe not that bad of a loss after they beat Kansas City.
I was
today.
thinking of Denver's win.
No, what you want is signs of competitiveness. Today's game wasn't competitive. I think that's the most frustrating thing. It was not a competitive game. You were down what at halftime? It was what, 24-3 at a halftime? That's not competitive. You're getting your butt kicked. Nobody thinks that you're into this thing at all. I don't think, or 24/7, whatever it was. Nobody thinks you're competitive.
Let's head back to SoFi Stadium, where Jason McKee is standing by with the rookie Tyson Bagent.
Here, Bears quarterback Tyson Bagent. Tyson, you guys just couldn't get things going offensively. What do you think was due in part to the lack of efficiency on offense?
Yeah, I think we had some penalties early. I think a couple miscues there in the first half. But ultimately, it all just goes back to the fact that, I got to do a better job taking care of the ball. And just as an offense, just being in tune and with what we have on the play sheet, on game day, and being able to just play, less sloppy and more efficient.
You talked about taking care of the ball. What happened on the first interception? It looked like that ball was in between Darnell and DJ on that play, the one that just here Gordon intercepted.
Yeah, threw it to DJ. There was some miscommunication, but I mean, once again, ultimately that's on me. I got to just work through my progressions and get the ball to the guys that are open.
You guys averaged tonight 3.1 yards per carry in the run game. What did they do defensively to take away the run from you guys?
I mean, I just think that they've got, just like every team in the NFL, they've got good players, and they were physical today, and we didn't capitalize on a lot of things today. So we definitely played a part in that. We're not going to say it's all them, even though they played very well today. We just have to be better as a unit.
Cole Kmet had 10 catches on 10 targets today. Is that just the chemistry and trust that you have within him, or is that something that the defense just gave you tonight?
Yeah, I think it's an anomaly of all three. I think that's just him being where he's supposed to be. Me going through my progressions, finding the open guys. There's not a lot of times I'm keying in on one specific guy. It's kind of just how the game flows. So I thought he did a great job today. And anytime you throw the ball to a guy 10 times and he comes down with it 10 times, that's usually, that guy usually did a pretty good job. So thought he played well today. But yeah.
Has the game started to slow down for you? You guys, like you said, you guys were inefficient on offense. You made mistakes, but you came back and made a lot of big plays as well. Has the game slowed down for you?
I think it's stayed pretty similar. It's just all a matter of being more efficient and, taking care of the ball, like I've said before, and just, going through, listening to coaching throughout the week, going through my progressions and taking care of the ball is what it comes down to.
All right, thanks for your time. Back to you, Peggy and Yurko up in the booth.
All right, J-Mac, thank you very much. We appreciate that. J-Mac's interview with Tyson Bagent is brought to you by Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. See country artist Dwight Yoakam on November 4th at Hard Rock Live. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. And Tyson Bagent did spread the ball out to 10 different receivers today, 232 yards passing, 2 interceptions, 1 sack. He finishes with a rating of 62.0. Let's take a break here as you're listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network. But first, we will pause 10 seconds for a station identification. This is the Bears Radio Network.
ESPN Chicago, the new home of the Chicago Bears. WMVP, WSHE, HD2, Chicago. Good Karma Brands radio station.
If you've been seriously injured at work, in a car accident, or on a construction site, you may not know where to turn. I'm Jim Morisi, Chicago personal injury lawyer and the managing partner of Morisi Longo and Associates. We are the ones you need to call when you've been injured, the ones who gather the evidence and deal with the insurance companies. So here's the information to keep by your side. Our number is 312-372-9600, and our website is morisilongo.com, MORICILONGO.com.
It's almost November 1st, which means open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace is around the corner. If you need health insurance, visit getcoveredillinois.gov, where a certified local navigator can help you choose a health plan that fits you and your family's needs. You can compare health plans side by side, and you may even qualify for financial help. Remember, open enrollment starts on November 1st. Visit getcoveredillinois.gov. Your health coverage starts here.
From the backyard to the big screen, pair this year's tailgate with Tito's Handmade Vodka. Fill your roster with a bottle of the good stuff and enough garnishes to last till halftime. Then snag your favorite seat on the couch with an ice-cold Tito's cocktail in hand. In our playbook, that means you're a winner before the game even starts. For game day recipes, gear, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Excellence. It means going the extra mile. You know that Volvo cars speak to excellence. And at Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, going the extra mile starts and ends with their culture of care and thoughtfulness. Guys, it's Carmen, and I've seen firsthand how Orloff Volvo goes the extra mile every day for everyone. And the Orloff name attached to the Volvo name is perfect, and they're known for safety and reliability. Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, just off the Kennedy at Armitage in Chicago. Volvo for life.
Hey, football fans of Chicago. Football season means it's time to start thinking about the roof on your business. Is it time to winterize? Make the right call. A game plan that includes the highly trained craftsmen and craftswomen of Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 to get the job done right. To find professionally trained roofing and waterproofing contractors who are dedicated to providing quality, value, and service, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org. For business roofing and waterproofing, it's ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
Hey, Chicagoland, the new Steinhoffels is now open on the corner of Lawrence and Harlem in Harwood Heights. And since 1934, Steinhoffels has been helping families make the home of their dreams. They have the largest selection of quality furniture and all the biggest brands of mattresses for every style and every budget. Take it from me. Visit any of their 4 Chicagoland locations and see what everyone is talking about. Or visit them online at steinhoffels.com. Relax, it's Steinhoffels.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Wintrust Community Banks, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to wintrust.com/locknewrates or visit one of our over 170 locations today. Bank differently with Wintrust. Member FDIC.
Peoria, Illinois, that wildly underrated peach of a place downstate, wants you to take its jobs. Okay, so they're careers, really. High-paying ones at world-class companies. And there are hundreds of them just waiting for someone with as much talent as you to say, bleep it, I'm moving to Peoria. But that overabundance of opportunity isn't the only thing Peoria has going for it. To explore all the perks and to land your dream career, head to choosegreaterpeoria.org.
Hey, football fans, don't get sacked by unexpected vehicle repairs. Amco Transmissions has easy pay plans for most credit needs. Call 1-800-GO-AMCO today.
Hear more Yurko weekdays noon to 2 on ESPN Chicago.
Welcome back to the Great Clips postgame show here on the Bears Radio Network. I'd like to remind everyone that the Bears are hosting their coat drive with Jewel Osco, and they request your support. This is the 35th annual Chicago Bears coat drive. You can help deserving families during the holiday season by donating winter coats at participating Jewel Osco locations through February 12th. You can also find out more at chicagobears.com/coat drive. And if you are looking for a coat, you can call the Salvation Army as well. Welcome back into the Bears postgame show on the Bears Radio Network. John Yurkovich, Peggy Kaczynski here, taking your phone calls at 312-332-3776. It was not a pretty one, Yurk. Let's talk a little bit what everybody is, everyone is going to be jumping on and jumping off the Tyson Bagent bandwagon.
Well, he struggled.
Of course he
You
did.
got to take a look at how he played. He struggled. He didn't play as well as he did before. After that first pass play, it's like, all right, maybe this thing is going to open up for you. But they kept shooting themselves in the foot. And when they kept shooting themselves in the foot, then he had to come back and make some key throws. And when it came down the crunch time and he said there was a miscommunication between him and his wide receiver, either way, he accepted that the fact is that I'm the guy that's responsible for throwing the football. So even if there's a miscommunication, it lies upon me. We'll figure it out. I got to find the open man. Having a connection with Cole Kmet, I guess, is okay. But Cole Kmet is not a dynamic tight end. He's not. He's not Hawkinson. He's not Kelsey. He is a solid Mark Bavaro style tight end that you would have thought would have gone out of style in the 90s, but is exactly what Cole Kmet is. 10 receptions. I mean, you feel good about yourself. Looks great on the stat sheet. 86 yards, 8.6 catch. Congratulations. Nice job. But he's not dynamic enough. He's never going to break a tackle and gain you another 25 yards and scamper into the end zone. You're never going to find him streaking on a diagonal across the field, making a play, making somebody miss. I always say that about him. You couldn't juke a tree stump in a 10-acre field. They decided to pay him. Okay, great. You paid him. But there's nothing special about Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet is a solid tight end. Good blocker, can get open, can find maybe the void in his zone, can turn and fall. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at with Cole Kmet. So great. You got a little chemistry there. There's your offense. Neither side ran the ball well. The Bears didn't run well. The defensive line played the run well. They didn't play the screen well. They dropped too deep. They allowed them just to hit little dinks and dunks and turn those into 10, 12-yard gains. And at the end of the day, they keep moving the ball down the field. What was he, 19 and 19? Is that what Herbert was at one point?
Herbert was at one point. No, he was like 16 of 17 at one point. It was
Well, it's hard to get off the field when you keep completing passes.
Right.
So, they want to play complimentary football. They did not play complimentary football today. They didn't play complimentary football at all. What they did was play poor enough on the road in it's not a tough place to play, but anytime you're on the road, it's tougher to win than it's at home. And they didn't perform. Their performance was lacking. It's like going to see Hamilton and all the stars have got sore throats. And, I'm hearing the song Alexander Hamilton, and it's coming out, Alexander Hamilton. That's the way the Bears played. The Bears played like they were sick today.
Not like they wanted
sickly.
Not like they wanted a seat at the table.
No.
A seat
Yeah.
at the table. A seat at
Oh,
the table.
good one.
See how I did that?
Yeah,
one?
I loved it when King George sang. That was my favorite.
Let's go out to the phone lines because we're not the only ones that had to watch this as well. Let's go out to Kansas City. Steven is up first on the Bears postgame show.
Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
Hey, guys. It's another very disappointing performance. Nothing really seems to work with this organization from a consistent perspective. This team just can't seem to build upon from a week in and week out consistently. And when there's a team that is far more superior in terms of quarterbacks, coaching, and everything, the Bears just completely wilt under pressure. And I think we can just probably put the Tyson Bagent savior story to bed. But my God, all week, all night, it was just so embarrassing. And I'm not a Fields or Bagent, that type of person, but the narrative that the national media was trying to push down Bagent tonight was just so embarrassing. And it's just basically, this is all the Bears have hoped for. And now that he was pretty badly exposed by the bad coaching by Matt Eberflus and his entire staff, I mean, what is it there to watch anymore for this organization to continue to trot out Matt Eberflus and his embarrassing excuses and constant pointing a finger at coaching, the players?
Yeah, Steven, unfortunately, he's not going anywhere. The Bears have never fired a coach during the regular season. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere as far as the regular season goes. The Monday after the regular season, I would expect this team right now, if they got to 5 victories, I think it'd be miraculous. It'd be an absolute miracle. So that's what I see happening. It's unfortunate. At that point, he'd be 8 and what, Peggy? 8-26? 8-26 if they got to 5 victories this year.
Yeah.
Well, that's not nearly good enough to keep anything. Even though you bottomed out last year, you expected positive movement this year. You're not getting it. There's no complaining about this or that. I don't know if either one of the quarterbacks is the answer. I'm guessing they're probably not, which means with whatever you've got going on in the first round this year, you've got to go find something, someone, multiple things. Sign a center. That's all I know.
I think social media really took off with the whole Bagent as a savior. I think what I heard and saw in the media here in Chicago, it was more about the interesting story of the unlikelihood of how he got to the NFL. But I agree with what you heard tonight from the announcers on NBC. They were definitely trying to make it more of a story.
Sure, they had a narrative they wanted to push. That's what they do in all those pre-thing meetings. Oh, and Chris Collinsworth, I have you believe, Jalen Johnson, and his 3 interceptions in 4 years,
cornerbacks.
is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And that's what Collinsworth will have you believe too. The minute I heard it, I almost got ill.
He repeated that a number of times. And I think if you heard on the pregame show, Ryan Poles, when he was asked about it, he said that Jalen Johnson has done everything that they have asked him to do.
Right.
But it still has to make sense, and that they have done enough research on their own to know, what exactly
what makes sense.
Right.
Yes.
And typically, I mean, listen, you want to get a deal during the season, or do you want to wait until the off season? If you do it during the season, you're probably not going to get as good of a deal as you would get in the off season, right?
Well, if you hit free agency, that's where you get overpaid.
Well, his 3 career interceptions and 1 fumble recovery does not even put him in the top 20 for cornerbacks.
Yeah. Not only that, but fumble recoveries are a thing that happen when you're in the right spot at the right time. Fumbles caused are something that you can actually celebrate.
Right.
When you've caused fumbles, that's something you can do. When you recover fumbles, it just means you're somewhere close to a pile and the ball squirts out and you happen to fall on it. Falling on the football, to me, is not a skill. Causing fumbles, like Peanut Tillman used to, that's the skill in the game of football. So
Right now, Jalen Johnson is trending toward a $6 million plus a year type of contract, but there's still a lot of games to play.
well, the top corners,
he can keep trending.
The top corners played $23 million. That's what he wants.
He's not going to get $23 million.
I'm just letting you know that's
the
what he
numbers aren't
wants.
his numbers aren't close.
I'm not arguing with you. I acknowledge that the number 6 million and the number 23 million are not close to each other. He plans on hitting free agency, finding a team that is one corner away from getting to the Super Bowl, and he wants to get paid. That's his theory. And being a former player, I'm not against guys getting paid. I'm not against guys getting overpaid. But the team that has you isn't going to overpay you if there wasn't any production.
Right.
Not on future production. They want to see what type of production you have, and then they're hoping that in your prime of your career, there's going to be better production. But most of the time, what you see is 5-6 interceptions a year for 4 years, and then all of a sudden, hey, this guy can get even better. Now we're going to pay him, and boom, good things are going to happen.
If he continues to trend the way he has this year, especially after last week's game, then yes, he will get paid more money. But right now,
he needs to have who was our corner here that had the 2 interceptions against the Rams? Fuller.
Kyle Fuller.
He had 7 interceptions that year. And you know what? People had to pay him because he had 7 interceptions that year.
Right.
If Jalen Johnson has 7 to 9 interceptions this year,
can't agree more
guess
with you.
what? Jalen Johnson can tell people, hey, I'm going to get paid.
Right.
And that's what I want. Not the day you have your 2 interceptions and you start telling the world, hey, pay that man his money. Okay, you can do that. But now let's see some more performance. Let's see more.
The only thing that does is get the fans on your side. That's the only thing that does when he starts talking like that.
Either get you on your side or against you.
Or against you.
So it's one of the two.
Point. That's a good point.
You know, it's usually split 50-50.
312-332-3776. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll go back out to the phone lines. You are listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Turn up your weekend plans at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Dance the night away every Friday and Saturday night at the Hard Rock Cafe stage. Or grab a cocktail while you listen to local beats at the Council Oak stage. Get closer to your favorite artist than ever before in our state-of-the-art Hard Rock Live, where we host some of the biggest artists in the industry. Live your life at max volume. Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Just off Exit 6, I-80-94. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Welcome to another wonderful Bears football night, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to raise up your flags, put your jerseys on, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, Bears fans save big on game days. Save 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. Yes, that's another touchdown to you all. Download the Fuel Rewards app to join and game on. Must be a Fuel Rewards member. Offer ends January 7th, 2024. Limit 20 gallons. Other restrictions apply.
Some people like A and others like B. At BMW, we prefer X. Like the dynamic X3, meant for ultimate exploration. The X5, built to conquer even the most difficult paths. Or the pinnacle of comfort and luxury, the X7. And since every X-Range vehicle is packed with performance and versatility, you'll always get the best of X. The BMW X-Range. Your next X venture starts here. Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance offers today.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays, bliss on Mondays. Going deep dish, going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Money saved through energy efficiency can directly benefit a business's bottom line. That's why businesses throughout Northern Illinois are partnering with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program to find up to 35% in energy savings, resulting in lower energy costs for their facilities. Because at ComEd, we're powering your business's future. Learn more at comed.com/poweringbiz. ComEd, powering lives. Savings figure is hypothetical only. Actual savings will vary based on the measures implemented and on customers' usage and rate.
You've got the talent, the moxie, and the grit, but you're still buried on the bench, waiting for a chance to prove it. If that sounds familiar, it may be time to take your talents to Peoria, Illinois. They're looking to fill hundreds of high-paying positions in all industries, and there's plenty of room on the roster for candidates like you. Sound good? Check out choosegreaterpeoria.org to learn more. Do it now. Visit choosegreaterpeoria.org.
Work zone ahead. Slow down, obey signs, and proceed with caution to advance. If you're a pro at navigating your favorite game, you shouldn't have any trouble when it comes to work zones. Failure to obey work zone speed limits can put lives at risk, whether workers are present or not. And remember, in real life, you can't just hit the reset button. It's not a game. Visit itsnotagameillinois.com to learn more.
Touchdown, Chicago. And speaking of winning teams, when it comes to car buying, it's Bill Jacobs Auto Group, proudly running the Bill Jacobs way since 1955. Just like your favorite players on the field, they're committed to excellence. Family run for 3 generations, their service experience is unbeatable. Find your perfect match from a large selection of new and used vehicles with fair upfront pricing. Visit BillJacobs.com today. At Bill Jacobs, the cars bring you in. The experience brings you back.
Coach Matt Eberflus joins ESPN Chicago in the Waddle and Sylvie Show tomorrow at 2:10. Hear the coach, only on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago.
Hear more Yurko.
Weekdays noon to 2.
ESPN Chicago.
Tough day of tackling for the Bears, whether your last name was Herbert or Eckler or Parham. They could not bring you down. And the yards after the catch really hurt.
Yeah. It stung. Listen, tackling. The thing about tackling is putting yourself in a position to make tackles. And then the willingness to go ahead and stick your head in there. That's it.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's about angles, getting to where you need to be, and then going and bringing your legs and your hips and bringing a guy down. You got to use your arms, but you can't whiff.
And the fear was that this would be a get it right game for the Chargers, and it was. And the Bears did not get much right today.
It's the dilemma now that the Bears are on a lot of schedules coming up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Every game for the opposing team will be get it right against the Bears.
You're right.
Let's do this thing. We've got the Bears coming in. They can't really do anything offensively. Let's get right against the Bears and build some momentum.
Jake and Antioch, you're up next. Hi, Jake.
How's it going, guys? Just quick couple things, and I'll let you guys talk about it. Nothing frustrates me more than poor coaching, and I want to go over a few things that I thought were really poor coaching, and I want Yerk to talk a little bit about it too, just from his experience in the league. First off, 4th and 2 in their territory. The best play you can come up with is a 3-yard hitch to your backup running back to Evans. Hated the play call. Just really insane to me when you have Kmet and especially DJ Moore on the field. 2, 6 targets, not enough for DJ Moore. You need to manufacture ways to get him the football. He is your best player by far. And 3, Yerk, how many times are teams down multiple scores in the game and come back to win in the last 2 minutes? What does Matt Eberflus do with the 2-minute warning and 3 timeouts? He rolls over and plays dead with 4 stoppages of time.
You're talking about at the end of the game.
Yes, and I know you're down 3 scores.
Yeah.
First of all, you shouldn't go for the 2-point conversion there. You should kick the field goal and go down 2 scores. You're dead in the water already. I know, but you still have a chance.
Well, I always say you go for the 2-pointer when you have to go for the 2-pointer, not any
Right,
time
and-
before that.
Right. They're down 16, right?
Yeah.
Or they're down 17, I'm sorry. So you kick the field goal and go down 16. So you're only down 2 scores.
Right. And
Then you
then
have to
the
go for
next
the
score,
2-pointer.
you'd have to go for the 2-pointer. I got you.
Right.
I got
If you miss the 2-pointer, you're done.
I told Peggy
Which they
this.
missed.
I told Peggy this when they went down 14-0. I said, watch what they do now. They know they're in it. They're against it. It's not working for them. What they're going to do now is they're going to slow the game down and try to chew up some time and try to get a long, sustained drive. And she goes, well, if they score, that's great. I go, yeah. I don't even know if that's the priority sometimes is to score as much as it is just to use up the clock so they don't lose as much. Because once they're down 14-0, the Bears cannot make a comeback. Go back over the last 2 years, the last 3 years. When's the last time the Bears have come back from a 14-point lead? The opposing team has had a 14-point lead. It's been a long time.
Not with coaching staff.
And yeah, exactly. And it hasn't been with Fields as a player, and it hasn't been with Bagent as a quarterback, and with Eberflus as the head coach here. There's no coming back from 14 points down. You can't do what Denver did against the Bears. The Bears couldn't do that against Denver being down that much. Okay? Only the Bears can lose a game like that, and the Bears cannot win a game like that. So when they were down 14-0, I knew it was over, and I said, now they're just going to try to eat up some time. Well, if they score, they might be able to score, but then the defense wasn't going to be able to stop anybody. And the only reason they didn't put more points on in the second half is they kind of took the foot off the accelerator, and the Bears started slanting their defensive line a little bit to give them a chance, because mano a mano against good offensive lines, they can't match up. They don't have the bullets inside. They don't have the guns. So that's where you find yourself. It's unfortunate, Jake.
Jake, thank you. We appreciate it. Let's keep going on the phone lines. Corbin is in Logan Square. Hi, Corbin.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, what do you got for us, Corbin?
It's pretty much the same thing. It's just it's really crazy. The tackling was terrible. The coaching is terrible. I mean, we see it every week, and it doesn't feel like they get any better. I mean, I've been listening to your show for forever. Yeah, and I don't
But Corbin,
understand
the defense had been looking good
for 2 weeks.
The last couple of weeks.
They gained more yardage in the first half this week than the Bears gave up last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they gave up. Look at all the yards after tackles today.
Yeah,
I mean, after the catch, they gave up so. I mean, I'm watching Edmonds before he got hurt. He's running, but he's not running full speed. Like, these guys are just getting a paycheck. Yeah, the last couple of weeks ago they were on point, but tonight, I mean, 160 plus yards after a catch. No, that's
yeah, it's frustrating. Tackling was poor.
Yeah, and and I was listening to you earlier. I agree with you 100%. They need to get the line. Briggs, Urlacher, and everyone that played back in the day.
Yeah, Trailer.
The
Washington.
Defensive line.
Yeah.
Defensive line, they can't get to any of the quarterbacks. They can't. I mean, it needs to be fixed.
That I agree with, Corbin. Here's the other guys that I would look at. Go back to that line that had John Henderson and Marcus Stroud on that line.
All right.
They drafted both of those guys with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those guys were a terror to offenses for the better part of 8 to 9 years for the Jaguars in the middle. They helped build that defense. That defense was those two big guys in the middle. They put everything around them, and everybody was better because of those guys.
Yep.
When you spend an offseason spending big money on linebackers, and you drafted young kids, but it's going to take time to develop. Jalen Carter was sitting there. Carter was sitting there, and we said no to Carter.
We should have went after Carter. But, they said he didn't have a good draft day, but, those kids are nervous sometime at draft day.
It wasn't just nerves on draft day. He had some other issues going on.
Yeah, he had some mental issues. He had a weight issue. Yeah.
And I shouldn't laugh because some very serious issues going on that are still going on. Those legal issues are going to continue with him. So, Corbin, thank you. We do appreciate the phone call. We got to take a break. When we come back, we will take more of your phone calls at 312-332-3776. You're listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Hey, Chicago fans, I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. We know injuries are part of the game, and if you've been in an accident, part of your life too. When the insurance companies are trying to score against you, we're there to intercept. Football fans, we are ready to fight for you. With over $100 million in recoveries for our injured clients, we know how to tackle the competition. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4-MILLION or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4-MILLION.
Dear football fans, at Toyota, we've assembled a hard-nosed championship team. Check out the RAV4's versatile ground game. Get behind the wheel of the Camry and see how this competitor gets its all to win. Or enjoy the Highlander, a big-bodied defender with plenty of room to carry your squad. Plus, all these vehicles come with available all-wheel drive, so you can tackle any terrain. Visit Toyota.com to learn more or check out your local Toyota dealership today. Toyota, let's go places.
Long week? It's time for a smooth Tito's handmade vodka cocktail. Staying in or going out, serving cocktails for two, or mixing drinks for the party. Barbecuing in the backyard, or snagging your favorite bar stool. No matter the occasion, just add Tito's to kick off the weekend just right. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and is naturally gluten-free. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
It's almost November 1st, which means open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace is around the corner. If you need health insurance, visit getcoveredillinois.gov, where a certified local navigator can help you choose a health plan that fits you and your family's needs. You can compare health plans side by side, and you may even qualify for financial help. Remember, open enrollment starts on November 1st. Visit getcoveredillinois.gov. Your health coverage starts here.
Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 provides quality, value, and service in all facets of the commercial, industrial, and institutional roofing and waterproofing industry, promoting skilled craftsmen and craftswomen through apprenticeship training. Local 11 members are trained in the application of the latest roofing and waterproofing techniques. They are at the forefront of design and installation of environmental-friendly solar, green, and garden systems. To find a highly skilled roofing contractor today, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
Hey, Chicagoland, the new Steinhoffels is now open on the corner of Lawrence and Harlem in Harwood Heights. And since 1934, Steinhoffels has been helping families make the home of their dreams. They have the largest selection of quality furniture and all the biggest brands of mattresses for every style and every budget. Take it from me. Visit any of their 4 Chicagoland locations and see what everyone is talking about. Or visit them online at steinhoffels.com. Relax, it's Steinhoffels.
Rest easy knowing your savings are secure and earning you more with a Wintrust MaxSafe account. With MaxSafe, you get up to 15 times the standard FDIC personal protection. That's right, 15 times the protection with the ability to secure up to $3.75 million per account holder. Now that's banking as it should be. Call 833-MaxSafe to talk with a local Wintrust banker today. That's 833-MaxSafe. Peace of mind is just a phone call away. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks. Member FDIC. See FDIC.gov for deposit insurance coverage rules.
Excellence. It means going the extra mile. You know that Volvo cars speak to excellence. And at Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, going the extra mile starts and ends with their culture of care and thoughtfulness. Guys, it's Carmen, and I've seen firsthand how Orloff Volvo goes the extra mile every day for everyone. And the Orloff name attached to the Volvo name is perfect, and they're known for safety and reliability. Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, just off the Kennedy at Armitage in Chicago. Volvo for life.
A new era of Chicago Bears football has begun. And ESPN Chicago is your new home for the Bears. Peggy and Yurko postgame, ESPN Chicago.
Snap is back. With time, Bagent waits for a route to open up. He put it over the defender in the hands of DJ Moore. Moore at the 45-yard line to the 47-yard line. Heck of a throw by Tyson Bagent on the near side. Over the defender, into the hands of DJ Moore for 18 yards and a humongous first down. Oh, my God. The first half.
Unfortunately, the Bears found themselves trailing this entire game. They trailed 14-0 after the first quarter. They trailed 24-7 at the half. They trailed 30-7 after 3 quarters, and they have now lost 7 straight on Sunday Night Football. Welcome back to the post-game show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. We are brought to you by Great Clips, and we are taking your phone calls as well at 312-332-3776. Let's keep going on those phone lines. Go to, let me see, Bags is in Oswego. Hello, Bags.
Hey, how we doing? I appreciate what you guys do, Yurko and Peggy.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, Yurko, I coached one of your nephews, Kevin Yurkovich, at Oswego a few years ago.
Absolutely.
Grew out to be a big dude, man.
Yep. Yeah, my
Bigger
cousin's
dude.
out there. He's a teacher out there. Marco and Joy, his lovely wife.
Yep. Oswego East, absolutely.
right.
Like I said, I appreciate you taking my call. I thought, I'm not frustrated because the Bears are who we thought they were supposed to be. When they put the season together, when we looked at the schedule, were we supposed to win this game?
Probably not.
Correct,
Yeah,
right? So
yes.
so we're in this spot where we win last week, we look good, and then we get the performance we got this week, and I don't know if that's game planning or something along those lines, and it sure as heck looked that way. But it almost looked like the Bears took a step back and was like, "Hey, we're supposed to be tanking," or something along those lines. And it was just frustrating as a Bears fan after watching last week with all the highs with Tyson. And you know what? I don't think he looked bad today. I thought he looked serviceable. Is he going to be a great NFL quarterback? Probably not. But you know what? The kid can do the job. But at the same time, I'd love to see Justin in that spot to see if he can do better or the same,
Yeah, I don't think there's any gray area. When he's healthy enough to come back, he'll be back in the role and he'll be back as the starter. So I don't think there's any great because there are decisions that have to be made at the end of this year.
Yep,
whether anybody
absolutely.
likes it or not.
Yeah, you're going to pay the man or not, right? And then it's also
This
frustrating
year's the only thing you have to do is pick up his 5th-year option. That's the
Right.
only decision that needs to be made this year. Nobody needs to pay anybody this year. We're going to pick up his 5th-year option. It's going to be guaranteed. He knows exactly how much money he'll make in his 5th year. Then if you decide at some point over this year or the next year that he's going to be your quarterback, that's when the negotiations start in year 4.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And then I'll just leave you with this. It was weird watching the defense give pressure last week and then back to week 1 stuff, rushing floor, playing zone.
Right. Playing zone,
man
playing
press.
deep zone too.
Yeah, deep zone.
14 yards off the ball.
And when they're in 3rd and 5, 2nd and 7, it's just a frustrating situation when you know that you can pre-snap, find that stuff and throw it out and get the first down. And you're just like, well, last week we didn't do that stuff. So thank you for taking my call. I just appreciate you guys.
Bags,
No problem.
thank you. We appreciate it as well. Thank you. 312-332-3776. Out to Orland Park we go. Emmett, you're up next. Hi, Emmett.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great. How you doing?
First time listener, long time caller.
Welcome
I
aboard.
just wanted to talk about the lack of effort on this team, specifically Velus Jones. He reminds me a lot of Javon Wims, a guy that just seems like he doesn't really want to be out there. He's running the routes. He's not really trying. Then the play calling. Foreman had an outstanding game last week, I thought. And then he comes in this week and they barely give him the ball. I mean, he was running through guys' heads last week. And, there's just something about this team. It seems like they just don't want to be out there. You got a lot of penalties. Guys' heads are not in the game. The camera goes up to Poles and it seems like he wasn't even watching the game. So I'm just frustrated as a fan. You come in with momentum and that happens. It's unacceptable, I think.
Yeah, there were 3 plays, I think, that Foreman rushed the ball, had 10, 11 yards. One was on a reception. I think 2 others were runs. All called back because of penalty.
Right.
So there were some frustrating things that were out there that, when they're in positive yardage situations, 2nd and 6 or less, 3rd or 3 or less, I think then they want to run their offense the way it's designed to run, controlling the ball, and maybe Foreman gets more plays. But as soon as he gets in there, he gets the first down, they bring it back because of a holding penalty. They'll bring it back because something. Yeah. Oh boy.
He's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I've seen enough.
That's Luke's guy. That's Luke's little buddy. Luke brought him along, and he has proven to be just bad. I mean, listen, Whitehair's better than him as a center, but Whitehair can't snap the ball in the shotgun.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. The snap. I mean, Bagent did his best, but there's not much he can do when the rest of the team just doesn't want to be on the field. So, yeah, thanks, guys.
Well, and
Appreciate
Velus
it.
too. Your point was Velus. I go, but Velus has proven over the course of time that he's not ready for prime time. He's not a PTPer. He's not a primetime player. He's not. He's proven it to you over and over and over again. But because you drafted him, you rolled the dice on him. You know, when they say all things are even, they're not. Velus Jones can make more mistakes than anybody on the Chicago Bears, and he's still okay because Ryan Poles doesn't want to admit he's wrong again. He was wrong again on Velus Jones Jr. Wrong. You drafted him, you gambled, you lost. You thought he was a player, he's not.
That his first offensive player that he drafted.
Yeah.
His first definite skill player that he drafted. So it's hard to let go, but I don't know. I don't know why they keep giving him all these opportunities. I mean, he didn't do anything the first 4 weeks of the season because everything was a touchback. And now the last couple of weeks, they're trying to get him more involved in the offense, and it's not working.
Yeah.
It's not working. Let's keep going. In River North we go. Hello, JT.
Hey, how are you guys doing? Jericho, love you, buddy.
Thank you.
So I have a question here. So what is the point of having Eberflus here anymore? Because we know for a fact that we're going to get one or two over the top five. So he has to be gone. I don't like his play calling. It's just terrible. So, you know, Caleb, I'm not really fine. Drake, not good either. But, you know, at some point, Ryan Poles has to figure out what they're going to do with the whole everything.
JT, I'll give you the history of the Bears coaches here because the trend has nothing to do, I think, with Ryan Poles. Kevin Warren may be able to change it, but going back to January 5th, 93 is when Mike Ditka was fired after the season. December 28th, 1998, Dave Wanstead was fired after the season. December 29th, 2003, Dick Charon after the season. December 31st, 2012, Lovie Smith after the season. December 29th, 2014, Mark Trestman after the season. And January 1st, 2018, John Fox after the season. So it's not the management, it's the ownership that is preferring to do it that way.
No, 100%. I understand that, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, though, for example, the play calling was terrible. Everyone knows that. So Eberflus was brought in for a defensive part, but yet they scored on every single
first five possessions. Yep, first five possessions.
Yep.
Yeah.
5 for 5.
So then it wasn't like Josh McDaniels, where you know it was the offensive coach. No, it was the defensive coach who just got worked. So at some point, we have to go, all right, you know what? Not today, not tomorrow, at the end of the season. Now we got the number 1 pick, let's say number 2 pick. We're going to have to, you know, cut ties and get somebody who understands the offensive side of it.
Well, if they cut ties with Eberflus, they're cutting ties with everyone.
Yeah, true.
So they're all gone. And they're going to have to find somebody off the scrap heap or somebody from college or some performer from another team. You know, when Holmgren got his job with the Green Bay Packers, he hired a bunch of guys nobody knew about.
What about Lincoln Riley?
What about
I love
him?
Lincoln Riley. I think Lincoln Riley with Caleb Williams to come to Chicago. Obviously the nil, I get all that, but to throw a lot of money at him. Don't you think?
JT, you can't see Yurko right now, but he has his
I got my hands on my face.
on his face.
And all I'm going to tell you is all these college kids that are coming out, nobody's a finished product. I don't know if you've seen Bryce.
I understand that.
CJ
If you
Stroud
look at-
struggled like there's no tomorrow today. Bryce Young looked like he didn't belong for the first 3 weeks of this season. I mean, none of these guys that are coming in are world beaters. Everybody wants Mahomes. Okay? Mahomes may not be there again. Everybody's going to have to develop them. And, yeah, I've seen USC lose 2 games in the last 3 weeks. And,
Okay.
And,
so,
and
so fair
what
enough
you-
then.
I mean, it's
So
just
Drake,
like,
so Drake's not good too. Though Drake may not be either.
none of
then-
them
and
are. None of them
Exactly.
are.
Exactly. So then we are inferior then because we don't even have evaluators to understand
Well,
the fact
we
that
got
we
new
should get better.
guys. We got new guys here. They're here 2 years. Okay, and Ron Wolf made mistakes, but
Ron Wolf. Oh my God.
Yeah, remember Ron Wolf with the Green Bay Packers and with the Oakland Raiders? Even he made mistakes. He brought in a bunch of guys week in, week out. It didn't make a difference. He brought in, he drafted guys, made mistakes, got rid of them. He didn't care. He says, one thing I'm going to do, he goes, I'd like to have a lot of chances to make mistakes or to get things right. The more chances you have to make things, to make the correct picks, the better off you are. But if you only got 5 picks to draft, that becomes more problematic as you move forward. And remember, you always have to refresh your team with that young, inexpensive talent so you could pay your studs that you have on your football teams. So DJ Moore can get paid what you have to pay him. You've got to have young kids making only $700,000 a year. And you got to have about 20 of them. That way the guys that are stars on the team can get paid.
Right. Listen, if you want to be able to watch Yurko during the postgame show, you can. You can watch us live on twitch.tv/ESPN1000 Chicago, and also check out the YouTube channel page for the ESPN Chicago page. Let's take a break. More of your phone calls. You're listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Don't miss out on the best gaming in Chicagoland. Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, where we're sure to have the action you crave. The choice is yours with a world-class selection of over 1,700 slots and 80 table games. Enjoy some of your favorite games like blackjack, roulette, craps, and baccarat. A roll of the dice or a spin of the reels, and you could be a winner. Live life at max volume at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, just off exit 6, I-80-94. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Big news from Bill Jacobs Auto Group. Get ready to hit the road with total peace of mind. Every car purchased or leased from any Bill Jacobs dealerships now comes with our Bill Jacobs Total Mile Protection. New car, you're covered with a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Used car, no worries. You get a 3-month, 3,000-mile powertrain warranty. Visit us today and drive away with the confidence of Total Mile Protection. Bill Jacobs Auto Group. The cars bring you in, but the experience brings you back. Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care has been diagnosing and fixing vehicles in Chicagoland for over 60 years. Amco's warranties are honored at over 550 locations nationwide, and their transmission systems check is free. Don't let small problems become worse and more expensive. Amco's technicians can diagnose problems right, and Amco offers up to 12 months of interest-free payments. Search AAMCO or call 1-800-GO-AMCO for a location near you. That's AAMCO. Amco, transmissions, and a whole lot more.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks a kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays, bliss on Mondays. Going deep dish, going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, so greaterness isn't technically a word, but in Peoria, Illinois, it might as well be. You see, they're all about greater here. Greater jobs, greater work-life balance, greater opportunities to grow your career. That's a whole lot of greaterness. With hundreds of open positions in a variety of fields, from healthcare to manufacturing to education, even the job prospects are greater. Visit choosegreaterpeoria.org to elevate your career.
Work zone ahead. Slow down, obey signs, and proceed with caution to advance. If you're a pro at navigating your favorite game, you shouldn't have any trouble when it comes to work zones. Failure to obey work zone speed limits can put lives at risk, whether workers are present or not. And remember, in real life, you can't just hit the reset button. It's not a game. Visit itsnotagameillinois.com to learn more.
Crash, bang, suddenly you are on the DL. If that happens as a result of somebody else's negligence, we can help. I'm Jim Morisi, Chicago personal injury lawyer. Our experienced attorneys and support staff will talk with you during a free consultation, tell you your options, and ensure that you take the right steps throughout the entire process. Visit us at MorisiLongo.com. That's MoriciLongo.com. Your future is our priority.
Do you hear that?
That is the sound of BMW performance without a single piston or cylinder. A generation of all-electric vehicles designed and built like no other. The BMW iX, i7, and i4 revolutionize every drive into a thrilling opportunity to feel the pure rush of BMW 100% electric. But isn't that what you'd expect from the ultimate electric driving machine? Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance offers today.
Personal foul, leaky store brands.
When all else fails, try North Shore adult diapers for even the heaviest control problems. Visit northshore.com.
Peggy and Yurko postgame, ESPN Chicago.
They motion Darius Davis, orbit motion. They fake it to him. They screen it right. Caught by Eckler. Gives up the football. The tackle by Justin Jones. The ball's still rolling around. That thing is a slippery pig right now. And the Bears do finally end up with a football. T.J. Edwards with the recovery.
Well, there's a positive for you. And if you want another positive, the fourth straight game, the Bears held their opponent to under 55 yards rushing, as the Chargers today finished with 54 yards rushing. So there you go. There's your positive for the game.
They held San Diego to under 3 yards a rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations. Nice job doing that. Problem is you couldn't tackle anybody on a short little passing game, and they ran forever after they made you miss.
And unfortunately, Eckler ended up with 125 total yards.
Right.
Because of that. Let's keep going on the phone lines. We will go out to Reno, Nevada, where Freddie is hanging on. Hi, Freddie.
Hello, Peggy?
Yes.
Yurko?
Hi, Freddie.
Yeah, what's up?
Greetings from Nevada, guys. I got to say something. I agree with a lot of things that Yurko was saying. Peggy, you have great logic as well. But I'm about to sound off with a lot of emotion and very little logic, okay? Honestly, I had this list here that I was ready to, lay on you guys. But after hearing Coach Eberflus in his interview, I'm over here listening to him, literally listening to him realistically. And I've got these little quirks and maybe I'm just a little bit crazy because I'm just hot-headed from the results of this season, but he says these little things like he takes his hats off to the Chargers for them playing a good game. This is a professional coach, right? We all in America know that Chargers did not play a good, fantastic game. They just did not suck. They didn't make any mistakes. They didn't fumble. They didn't play great. Those plays that they scored on us, they were great plays. They were simple screens. They were normal routes. We just happen to have players that suck and cat tackle and don't play with, dedication and heart and diligence and hustle and all that stuff that we're going to go turn around to pertains to the coaching and ownership. Are we really supposed to believe Poles when he came off of his pedestal saying we're here to take the North back? Right now, Poles can't even take North Aurora back. What is going on here? So I'm going to leave that with you guys. Let you guys chime in on that, and I wish you guys
Freddie.
a good one.
Thank you, Freddie. You got me chuckling right now. He couldn't take North Aurora back. I mean, the North is susceptible. It is. Minnesota, the game you had against Minnesota was, to me, a very winnable game that you found a way to lose. I mean, it's like you never saw blitz at all. You didn't know that they were going to blitz that game. And everybody ends up frustrated after that one. After Fields, Justin had played two pretty good games. Yeah, it was there. Green Bay is not what they were. Jordan Love may not be the quarterback. They're struggling in Green Bay. They lost again today.
Yep.
It was there, right? Detroit looked very human against Baltimore. They play tomorrow night. Yeah, there was a chance to take back the North. We've had 2 off seasons where Ryan Poles has been in charge. I have a feeling because he's positioned himself with multiple picks, he's going to get another off season to go ahead and make his choices and hit free agency. But to me, the mistake of paying linebackers massive amounts of money and trying to go through the draft and trying to go inexpensively up front, has backfired like horrifically against the Chicago Bears. And I'm hoping there'll be a defensive lineman of Carter's quality in this year's draft. And I'm hoping Dexter and Pickens at some point develop. And I saw the story planted in the paper how it looks like Dexter might be coming along. He might be doing this and he's doing. Saw that when I was in Vegas, and not yet. I've seen positive signs, but he's not there yet. And I have a feeling there's a little more growth, and by a little I mean a whole lot more growth that needs to take place for good things to be happening for Dexter. I like him. I think he could be a Santana Dotson player. If you remember Santana Dotson from Tampa Bay and from the Green Bay Packers, I think he's got that body style, but he doesn't nearly have the skill that Santana Dotson had coming out of college. We're hoping he can develop that skill, and you need a coach that can help develop that skill for him.
Tuesday is the trade deadline. Ryan Poles on the pregame show here on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network did say that he thought that they would be fairly quiet at the trade deadline as opposed to last year when he was not fairly quiet. He was quite active. Lots of rumors about the Bears inquiring and having talks with Washington about Chase Young. That was supposed to be indicative of what the Commanders did today. They ended up losing today, but they put up a nice game against the Eagles, right?
Philadelphia.
It was a nice game against the Eagles, and whether or not Chase Young or Montez Sweat were going to be available, there were reports that it was dependent on how the Commanders did today. But there were also reports that the reason Ryan Poles is lukewarm on Chase Young is he does not have access to full medical files on Chase Young and does not want to pull the trigger on a move like that.
He would have to pull a trigger until they evaluated him anyway.
Right.
And if you're going to trade for a guy, then his medical records have to come with him. So they can be coy all they want about him, but if they plan on trading him, you're going to have to see everything. You can't without doing your due diligence and having your doctors check him out. He's got 5 sacks.
He could also be.
I think the team doesn't have 5.
He could be planting that too.
Sure.
So that it gets out in the media, and then Washington has to lower their asking price because right now Washington wants a 2nd-round pick, which obviously the Bears have a 2nd-round pick, but they do not have late-round picks.
Right. You do not. This is what you don't do. Also, remember this. You do not trade for him if you don't plan on signing him to a long-term contract.
Exactly right.
So this trade doesn't even happen without there being a contract already agreed to with Chase Young. He's 24. He's plenty young. You could sign him to a 4 or 5 year contract that would only take him to 29. So he's plenty young. That's not the issue. And guys have had ACLs and they've been able to play in this league. It's not a problem. I had one 1987 with an archaic surgery, and I had 10 years in the league. So guys get ACLs nowadays, and they can come back and they can flourish in the NFL. So that's not a problem either. You just have to know when you're signing them, this is the deal we're agreeing with as we move forward. If we don't have that deal signed the day you get here, then that's a trade that doesn't happen for us. If you think you're going to come to us and I'm going to trade for you and you're going to hit the free agent market, that's not happening. So if that is your want to hit free agency, we wish you the best of luck. You stay with Washington. And we'll see you maybe in March when we'll maybe make an acquisition for you.
The Bears' 2nd-round pick, just for your information, would be the 6th pick in the 2nd round. They have the 38th pick overall. They do have then the 5th pick in the 3rd round, another 4th-round pick, 2 5th-round picks, but no 6th or 7th round picks. So, and we know how much Ryan Poles likes his draft picks, and they do have those 2 1st-round picks as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Tuesday is the trade deadline. Don't expect anything to happen with Jalen Johnson. It sounds like there are negotiations ongoing with him for a new contract. The other one whose contract is up is Darnell Mooney. And unfortunately, Darnell Mooney is not having a season that is earning him another contract.
I think Darnell Mooney will be happy to get out of town.
You think he's what?
He'll be happy to get out of town.
Where he gets more balls thrown his way.
Exactly. Anywhere. If I'm Darnell Mooney, I'd say, give me to Kansas City for a $1.2 million 1-year contract, and I'll prove myself to Kansas City. Playing an offense that's good to wide receivers. And they need guys. They need guys. Go someplace where you got a quarterback that can throw. Because Chicago hasn't, historically, I'm not saying anything that not anyone knows. Chicago hasn't had a 4,000-yard pass, period. Why would I want to be here if I'm a receiver? DJ Moore had no choice. DJ Moore had to come here. Okay? He didn't have a choice. So ask him sometimes what he thinks. I mean, he's had a couple of games. But today's game, targeted 6 times? Do you think he's running around? You think he's on a flight telling the whole world how happy he is being a receiver for the Chicago Bears? I don't think he is.
No. 312-332-3776. Let's take a break. When we come back, we still have to find the great of the game because you are listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network. But first, we will pause 10 seconds for a station identification. This is the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome to the new era of the Chicago Bears on your new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago, WMVP, WSHE, HD2, Chicago.
Money saved through energy efficiency can directly benefit a business's bottom line. That's why businesses throughout Northern Illinois are partnering with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program to find up to 35% in energy savings, resulting in lower energy costs for their facilities. Because at ComEd, we're powering your business's future. Learn more at comed.com/poweringbiz. ComEd, powering lives. Savings figure is hypothetical only. Actual savings will vary based on the measures implemented and on customers' usage and rate.
Dear football fans, at Toyota, we've assembled a hard-nosed championship team. Check out the RAV4's versatile ground game. Get behind the wheel of the Camry and see how this competitor gets its all to win. Or enjoy the Highlander, a big-bodied defender with plenty of room to carry your squad. Plus, all these vehicles come with available all-wheel drive, so you can tackle any terrain. Visit Toyota.com to learn more or check out your local Toyota dealership today. Toyota, let's go places.
Football fans, put someone on your team that's ready to fight for you. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Our team combines technology and expertise to deliver a first-class client experience and get you the wins that you deserve. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4MILLION or visit our website at cilaw.com for free counseling.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4MILLION. From the backyard to the big screen, pair this year's tailgate with Tito's Handmade Vodka. Fill your roster with a bottle of the good stuff and enough garnishes to last till halftime. Then snag your favorite seat on the couch with an ice-cold Tito's cocktail in hand. In our playbook, that means you're a winner before the game even starts. For game day recipes, gear, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
It's almost November 1st, which means open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace is around the corner. If you need health insurance, visit getcoveredillinois.gov, where a certified local navigator can help you choose a health plan that fits you and your family's needs. You can compare health plans side by side, and you may even qualify for financial help. Remember, open enrollment starts on November 1st. Visit getcoveredillinois.gov. Your health coverage starts here.
Hey, football fans of Chicago. Football season means it's time to start thinking about the roof on your business. Is it time to winterize? Make the right call. A game plan that includes the highly trained craftsmen and craftswomen of Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 to get the job done right. To find professionally trained roofing and waterproofing contractors who are dedicated to providing quality, value, and service, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org. For business roofing and waterproofing, it's ChicagoRoofingContractors.org. Welcome to another wonderful Bears football night, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to raise up your flags, put your jerseys on, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, Bears fans save big on game days. Save 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. Yes, that's another touchdown to you all. Download the Fuel Rewards app to join and game on. Must be a Fuel Rewards member. Offer ends January 7, 2024. Limit 20 gallons. Other restrictions apply.
Excellence. It means going the extra mile. You know that Volvo cars speak to excellence. And at Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, going the extra mile starts and ends with their culture of care and thoughtfulness. Guys, it's Carmen, and I've seen firsthand how Orloff Volvo goes the extra mile every day for everyone. And the Orloff name attached to the Volvo name is perfect, and they're known for safety and reliability. Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, just off the Kennedy at Armitage in Chicago. Volvo for life.
Coach Matt Eberflus joins ESPN Chicago in the Waddle and Sylvie Show tomorrow at 2:10. Hear the coach only on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago. Postgame. More Bears talk coming up. ESPN Chicago.
5-man front for the Chargers. Back to throw. And Bagent with time hails it down the right side. A diving catch. Darnell Mooney makes the grab inside the 40-yard line. The birthday boy. Happy birthday, Darnell.
Darnell Mooney is our Finding the Great play of the game, because at Great Clips, their online check-in app saves you time on haircuts. With just a few taps, you can get in and out with a fresh haircut. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Also, join the greatest salon team. Visit jobs.greatclips.com. All salons are independently owned and operated. Contact your local salon for specific safety measures.
And never again to see the football until the end of the game, and the ball went through his hands and into the defender's hands for the interception.
Yep.
So
Unfortunately.
one catch for 41 yards today.
Yes. Yes, that was expected to see more. He was targeted more, but
They did go downfield to Scott one time, and the ball was overthrown by about 8 yards. So they did go long again. Well, that's what you had. But that's our great clip, great play of the game, huh? Oh boy.
Yep, that was it.
That's what you have when you lose 30-13. You've got to find something that was positive.
Next opponent, the Saints. They beat the Colts today behind Derek Carr's 300-yard passing game, a pair of touchdowns. He had a very efficient game today for New Orleans. Taking a look at the NFC North, the Vikings beat the Packers, but they lose quarterback Kirk Cousins to an Achilles tendon tear. He is expected to be out for the season. Lions are playing the Raiders on Monday Night Football tomorrow night. And the Panthers, the winless Panthers, are no longer winless. They pick up their first win. They beat the Texans in a barn burner, 15-13. Other one-win team, the Cardinals, remain with just one win as they lose to the Ravens. Broncos pick up a win. Patriots lose to the Dolphins. Giants lose to the Jets. And the Titans pick up a win against the Falcons. That's the battle of the basement.
Yeah. What a stellar division, huh? Somebody's got to win when you play each other. That's what I always say.
Well, it's not going to get any easier next week. Sunday afternoon.
They're going. I know a buddy going down to the game. Said he's going to head down. Boy, if there's any chance you get just to enjoy all the pomp and circumstance of what an NFL game is all about, and then get out of there and maybe go to the casino.
Right.
You know, they got a nice casino, Jack's, I think it is. Get out of there. You don't want to see this one. This defense is better than the defense you just played. This New Orleans defense will get up after you. Alvin Kamara, I think, is a better player than Austin Eckler. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe he's a better player. You know, I know he's got his own disciplinary issues and other stuff going on right now. That's a little bit of a problem and the reason why he's been suspended over the course of time. But I don't think Drew Carr, the quarterback, is better, but I think Drew Carr is capable.
Derek Carr, thank you. Drew's his brother. His brother.
David Carr is very capable of getting in there.
We're throwing any D out there. Derek, David, or Drew.
Which one did I do now?
I don't know.
Which one is
midnight.
it?
You know what happens after midnight?
The brain goes rotten.
That's right. And
How about this one?
Cinderella has to get back by midnight because all of a sudden
carriage will turn into a pumpkin and the horses will turn back into mice. Either way, Carr, the quarterback Carr.
Yes.
Okay, the one that's still playing.
Yes.
C-A-R-R, no relation to Lloyd Carr, former coach of University of Michigan. He's very capable. And the Bears are going to go into New Orleans, and what would I expect them to do on the road than what they always do? They go on the road and they lose games. So what's there to expect this week going up against New Orleans? They're going to go down to New Orleans. They're going to go down to the French Quarter. They're going to go down to Bourbon Street. They're going to eat some great food down there. They're going to go into meetings, and then they're going in the next day, and they're going to lose the game because they're the Chicago Bears, and that's what they do. 2-7. That's what you're staring in the face. Then with a quick turnaround, right? A quick turnaround for a November 9th Thursday
night game.
Yeah. We're excited. And that
Good
one's a
God.
home game.
Good.
That is a home game, though, Peg. The city of Chicago gets to celebrate when the Bears come home Thursday night, 2-7. Let's go. I can't even fake
Speaking
it
of
anymore.
Cinderella, let's go to Ralph on the north side because he wants to talk about Cinderella. Hello, Ralph.
Yes, and hey, what's going on? Hey, just a few thoughts on the game. When they signed Bagent back in May, they signed him for 3 years for $2.8 million. And for what he's shown so far, I think he's going to be at least a serviceable QB2 and developmental as well. And that's a net positive on that price point to see him on the team signed for that. I think the refs were awful tonight. I don't even want to get into the first play. The first play of the game should have been a touchdown. Not that I even think they would have had a chance with the way the defense played.
Kmet's should have also been a touchdown. They whistled it dead too soon.
Yeah. But, looking forward, I just don't see, and maybe I'll be wrong. I would be glad to be wrong. I don't see the answer in Fields just because of his processing speed. And I don't see that changing. That's the thing that reminds me about Cutler and him is just to see everything that they have, arm talent wise and everything else. And then just not being able to process the game and make the same mistakes over and over. It's god awful. And it's just frustrating. I mean, so you're going to have another rookie come in here, and I don't trust anyone on this staff to develop them. Do you? I mean, it's a joke. Caleb Williams seems like an attitude problem. Furthermore,
who seems like an attitude
Caleb
problem?
Williams, the quarterback out of USC.
I'm not worried about the USC quarterback. That's not my guy coming out. I don't have a guy. Late in the first round, I might have a guy. Early in the second round, I might have a guy. I don't. These college quarterbacks that are coming out, problematic. It took 2 or 3 years. Took Jalen Hurts into his third year. First 2 years were a little bit yes, and then Jalen Hurts turned into a quarterback. So you got to be willing to wait. You got to be willing to be patient with these guys. We're in the third year with Josh Fields. Another
Justin.
Jeez, Justin Fields. Boy, I tell you, I'm punch drunk right now. Just the way it is after midnight. Is that Eric Clapton that sang that? Yeah, Justin Fields. I mean, we're here in year 3. I know it's been with different coordinators. Everybody's got an excuse for him. I tell you what, after seeing 2 weeks of Bagent, I can't wait to see Justin Fields back again. The more I see a Bagent, the more I want to see a Fields again. Sorry, just the way I feel.
Jordan in Maryville, you're up next. Hi, Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, how you guys doing tonight?
I've been better, Jordan. I wish I was back in Vegas.
I was wondering. I was seeing if you guys would be honest with me or not.
Oh yeah, no, honest. That's one thing we don't have a problem with.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Hey, so I'm watching football all day today. And I'm watching the red zone, and I like the red zone because it gives you a wide scope of all the teams. You're seeing all the teams.
Right.
And and what makes me upset with the Bears more than anything, we know they need a quarterback. We know that. But I'm seeing quarterbacks get hit and pressured time after time after time. Did you guys see what the Broncos did to Patrick Mahomes?
Did they torture
him? He was
him?
running for his life all day long. All day long. And so I'm looking at the Bears. It was over the 28 teams besides the Bears this week. There was over 75 sacks in the NFL this week. And the Bears had 0.
0.
None.
Against one of the most sacked quarterbacks this year. He had one of the highest rates of sack percentage going into this game.
That was my next point. I've been watching games of Herbert getting sacked, throwing interceptions for 2-3 years. He does that. You couldn't do it. So, you have to use some draft capital to get a pass rusher or money. But I don't care what you do. You can score as much as you want or have the best quarterback on the other side. If you cannot pressure the quarterback, you are not winning anything in this league. And it's just disheartening to see that your team cannot get any pressure on any quarterback, and it's just frustrating, guys.
And even with Ngakwe here, even he doesn't provide the pressure.
No. And he did change it up, though, I think because he's the secondary is so depleted and not having the 2 starting safeties, because he likes to use Brisker a lot on that safety blitz. But he brought the linebackers in more blitzing today, but they still could not get
I think
to
they got to
Herbert.
him once.
Yeah.
Well, and then every time he got to him, the intentional grounding, they didn't even call it.
Right.
I mean, they're laughing about it on the air. It's intentional grounding. The referees look at each other, the umpire and the ref. I go, he's not there. He's engaged in the block. He's not a receiver at that point. He dumps it over his head. He's got no idea. There's nobody there. He's in the pocket. The ball hasn't gotten to the line of scrimmage, and the proximity rule's not in play because he's not a receiver. He's engaged in a block. So it didn't make any sense. They said it should have been, and who is it, Terry McCauley or whoever the referee up there is for that crew, said, of course, that should be an intentional grounding penalty. Of course, the Bears don't get any calls because when you stink, they don't care about you, and they're not going to give you the calls, which is why you'll never see a roughing the passer on Justin Fields. Why? Because you stink, and all the referees want to do is to get out of the game. Just let's get in here, let's call the game, let's get the hell out of here. Because how did we get the Bears game? That's what they tell themselves. And they hope it's in Chicago where at least they can go eat at a decent restaurant, as opposed to Minnesota or Detroit.
They got SoFi Stadium. Not bad. The Bears were without both starting safeties today. Eddie Jackson was active, but was only going to be used in an emergency situation. And Jaquan Brisker stayed home, did not take the flight because he was ill all week. They went with Hicks, and they went with, who was the other one? Is it Furman? Trying to remember who the other starting safety was. I don't have my notes there now. It's the guy they picked up in early October.
Yes, early October.
Yeah, so he's a 11-year veteran. Listen, the Bears got away today with one injury, and that's Tremaine Edmonds. And even though Coach said, yes, he went back in the game, he immediately left the game after he tried to go back in. So we'll find out about Tremaine Edmonds' injury this week as the Bears return home to prepare for the Saints. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, more of your phone calls. You are listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Want to live life at max volume? Then look no further than Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. With over 1,700 slots, 80 table games, live entertainment, and 5 restaurants which span a wide range of culinary genres, we are sure to have something for everyone. Whether you want to indulge in a savory dish at Council Oaks Steaks and Seafood, or take in dinner and live music at the world-renowned Hard Rock Cafe. Amplify your entertainment experience at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Just off Exit 6, I-8094. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Are you ready for a winning drive, Chicago? It's time to tackle your car search with Bill Jacobs Auto Group, the true champions of automotive excellence. Score big with a third-generation family-run business committed to our community and fair upfront pricing. Touchdown with our unparalleled service experience and an extensive selection of new and used vehicles. Don't fumble on your car buying journey. Visit Bill Jacobs Auto Group today and experience the Bill Jacobs way, the MVP of car dealerships. At Bill Jacobs, the cars bring you in and the experience brings you back.
Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care has been diagnosing and fixing vehicles in Chicagoland for over 60 years. Amco's warranties are honored at over 550 locations nationwide, and their transmission systems check is free. Don't let small problems become worse and more expensive. Amco's technicians can diagnose problems right, and Amco offers up to 12 months of interest-free payments. Search AAMCO or call 1-800-GO-AMCO for a location near you. That's AAMCO. Amco, transmissions and a whole lot more.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks a kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays, bliss on Mondays. Going deep dish, going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Peoria, Illinois, that wildly underrated peach of a place downstate, wants you to take its jobs. Okay, so their careers, really. High-paying ones at world-class companies. And there are hundreds of them,
just waiting for someone with as much talent as you to say, bleep it, I'm moving to Peoria. But that overabundance of opportunity isn't the only thing Peoria has going for it. To explore all the perks and to land your dream career, head to choosegreaterpeoria.org.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
Work zone ahead. Slow down, obey signs, and proceed with caution to advance. If you're a pro at navigating your favorite game, you shouldn't have any trouble when it comes to work zones. Failure to obey work zone speed limits can put lives at risk, whether workers are present or not. And remember, in real life, you can't just hit the reset button. It's not a game. Visit itsnotagameillinois.com to learn more.
I'm Chicago personal injury lawyer Jim Morisi, the managing partner of Morisi Longo & Associates. If you've been seriously hurt at work, in a car accident, or on a construction site, you know the insurance companies are not on your side. Our trial lawyers will level the playing field and put you in control. Consultations are always free. Google Morisi Longo & Associates, MORICILONGO.com, or call 312-372-9600. We're here when you need us.
The new home of the Chicago Bears.
Slate tackles and he's off to the races. 61-yard touchdown run by Justin Fields.
ESPN Chicago.
Hear more Yurko.
Weekdays noon to 2.
ESPN Chicago.
Velus Jones in the game. High snap out of the gun. They fake the handoff to Foreman. With time, here's the throw. Bagent going deep. He's got a wide open Velus Jones. Fell down to the end zone, and he could not hang out of the ball. He was on his seat trying to catch it, and he couldn't do it.
Yurko, I am telling you, that truly looked like what my boys looked like when they would play football in the front yard, where they're falling backwards, they slip and fall, and then
you're running with tennis shoes on the grass.
Yeah.
And it's slick.
Nothing looked like an NFL wide receiver there.
Thanksgiving morning.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So if Ryan Poles is looking for a wide receiver, he can find him all over Chicago on Thanksgiving.
The day Ryan Poles is relieved of his duties, and I don't know when that day will be, but that's the way it usually ends for general managers. At some point, you'll get relieved of his duties. They should play the human highlight film that was Velus Jones Jr. and all the mistakes that he made, and then just say, well, I don't know why they fired me. And then I'll play that. And that's the only thing you have to play. This is why, ultimately, at the end of the day, you're released. And I'm not calling for it. I'm just saying eventually when it happens, I want the footage. And when the question is asked, I'll release the footage and say, here it is. This is why you're gone.
Out to the phone lines we go in New Lenox. James, you're up next. Hi, James.
Hey, Peggy. Hi, Eric. How you guys doing?
Great. What's going on?
Man. Couple things if I can. Yeah, that Velus Jones play was one of the worst plays I've ever seen. He was extremely open, though. He was like college football open. And,
yes.
I think Bagent put it on him. He just obviously fell and then didn't catch it when it landed right on his chest. I don't think Bagent played that bad compared to what he played last week. I think just the level of competition was much better this week, which, like you said, I agree. It's going to be worse next week for him if he plays or if Fields plays, whoever. And then I think Eckler's the better player, but I think Kamara's going to have the better game next week in regards to dumping off the running backs because that's all Carr does since Kamara's came back. I do want to make a comment about Eberflus. They're going to keep him, like you said, Peggy, throughout the whole year because that's just what the Bears do. How can the NFL coach, when your team's trailing, and yes, the lead is insurmountable, but you get the turnover, you throw it all the way down to like the 5 or the 3 or something, I think, really quickly you move it down there. Then once you get there, you run it 2 or 3 times while the clock's running instead of just passing it like you were the whole time. Then the Chargers had the ball like 2:07 or something. They run, you stop them, 2-minute warning. You have 3 timeouts. They run it 2 more times. You don't call any of your timeouts, and they punt it to you with 30 seconds left. How are you not calling your timeouts there just to get that experience of trying to at least get as far down the field as you can? Like, what is that? I've never seen that in the NFL before.
Yeah, what do you, Yurko, was he trying to protect, was he protecting Bagent? I mean, they were protecting Bagent last week before the half. You know, they didn't want him to get hurt.
Yeah, well, that didn't make any sense anyway. That didn't make sense last week. I think at that point, he just basically felt, let's get this one in any way we can get it in. Let's not worry about the time because this game is over. That's what I felt like. And I told you that when they're down 14-0, this game's over.
I mean, that's
And
crazy.
you looked at me like I was nuts. I go, that with this team?
I know.
I go, Eberflus is going to try to run the ball now here to get some time off the clock because he doesn't want this one getting away from him. And by getting away from him, I mean like 45-0. And I think in essence, he waved the surrender flag there. And I think his buddy across the way got to okay, we won't pour it on.
Brandon Staley was like, okay, yeah.
That's fine. I understand. We're not going to pour it on, but we're going to win comfortably. And they did. They won comfortably.
I don't know. Teams like to pour it on this year. And teams, they get an opportunity to put up 40 points. They're all going to try for 40 points.
Some can. But maybe he knows what it feels like when things aren't working 100%, the coach of the Chargers.
Let me get Danny from Lombard in real quick. Dan, you got to make it quick, okay? Danny?
Oh, hey. Good morning. Yeah.
Go ahead, make it quick.
Yeah, I had a quick observation question. I noticed Bagent doesn't wear the wristband with the play calls on his wrist like I believe Justin Fields does. And when they showed Fields on the sideline, he had the play call sheet in his hands. And so I'm just wondering, is that indicative that Justin doesn't know the offense, doesn't know the plays, and he can't do his reads, and that's why we have the problems we have?
No, I don't know if that's indicative of that at all. I think he just did he say Eberflus or Bagent doesn't have the wristbands?
Bagent doesn't have the wristbands.
Bagent doesn't have the wristbands. Bagent gets the call. Maybe Bagent's got a better mastery of it. I don't know. I just know that some guys can't get through all the calls, and rather than sit there, roll the dice and gamble on him getting through the calls, I know a lot of quarterbacks that have had the wristbands.
Right. A lot of regular starting quarterbacks.
Regular starting quarterbacks have the wristbands because they want to be able to go to it. Garoppolo has it.
Yeah.
Favre used to have it up until he got a pure mastery of it all. So, I mean, there's guys that have it all the time.
Yeah.
Some guys pick it up. Some guys have the verbiage a little bit better. Other guys don't. So you better have it. That way you don't mess it up.
And we will find out during the week the status of Justin Fields with his dislocated thumb, whether or not he will try to go against the Saints on Sunday afternoon. It is a 12 o'clock start in New Orleans. One last reminder for you that the Bears have their annual coat drive happening right now. If you have an opportunity, please drop off some gently used or new coats at your participating Jewel Osco centers to help people in need. Again, next game next Sunday, 12 o'clock noon against the 4-4 Saints. Our thanks to executive producer Eric Ostrowski, Kendra Smith, and Jake Cantu. Thank you to our broadcast crew, Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer, and Jason McKee. Our guest today, head coach Matt Eberflus, QB2, Tyson Bagent, almost forgot his name, and running back Darrington Evans.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Thank you all for listening. Bears lose to the Chargers 30-13. For Yurko, I'm Peggy. You've been listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. As we say goodbye, we welcome the rest of you to stand by for the postgame show coming up next.
Dear football fans, at Toyota, we've assembled a hard-nosed championship team. Check out the RAV4's versatile ground game. Get behind the wheel of the Camry and see how this competitor gets its all to win. Or enjoy the Highlander, a big-bodied defender with plenty of room to carry your squad. Plus, all these vehicles come with available all-wheel drive, so you can tackle any terrain. Visit Toyota.com to learn more or check out your local Toyota dealership today. Toyota, let's go places.
It's almost November 1st, which means open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace is around the corner. If you need health insurance, visit getcoveredillinois.gov, where a certified local navigator can help you choose a health plan that fits you and your family's needs. You can compare health plans side by side, and you may even qualify for financial help. Remember, open enrollment starts on November 1st. Visit getcoveredillinois.gov. Your health coverage starts here.
Hey, Chicagoland, the new Steinhoffels is now open on the corner of Lawrence and Harlem in Harwood Heights. And since 1934, Steinhoffels has been helping families make the home of their dreams. They have the largest selection of quality furniture and all the biggest brands of mattresses for every style and every budget. Take it from me, visit any of their 4 Chicagoland locations and see what everyone is talking about. Or visit them online at steinhoffels.com. Relax, it's Steinhoffels.
Hey, Chicago fans, I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. We know injuries are part of the game, and if you've been in an accident, part of your life too. When the insurance companies are trying to score against you, we're there to intercept. Football fans, we are ready to fight for you. With over $100 million in recoveries for our injured clients, we know how to tackle the competition. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4million or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4million.
Money saved through energy efficiency can directly benefit a business's bottom line. That's why businesses throughout Northern Illinois are partnering with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program to find up to 35% in energy savings, resulting in lower energy costs for their facilities. Because at ComEd, we're powering your business's future. Learn more at comed.com/poweringbiz. ComEd, powering lives. Savings figure is hypothetical only. Actual savings will vary based on the measures implemented and on customers' usage and rate.
Long week? It's time for a smooth Tito's handmade vodka cocktail. Staying in or going out, serving cocktails for 2, or mixing drinks for the party. Barbecuing in the backyard, or snagging your favorite bar stool. No matter the occasion, just add Tito's to kick off the weekend just right. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and is naturally gluten-free. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 provides quality, value, and service in all facets of the commercial, industrial, and institutional roofing and waterproofing industry. Promoting skilled craftsmen and craftswomen through apprenticeship training, Local 11 members are trained in the application of the latest roofing and waterproofing techniques. They are at the forefront of design and installation of environmental-friendly solar, green, and garden systems. To find a highly skilled roofing contractor today, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
Some people like A and others like B. At BMW, we prefer X. Like the dynamic X3, meant for ultimate exploration. The X5, built to conquer even the most difficult paths. Or the pinnacle of comfort and luxury, the X7. And since every X-Range vehicle is packed with performance and versatility, you'll always get the best of X. The BMW X-Range. Your next X venture starts here. Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance offers today.
Coach Matt Eberflus joins ESPN Chicago in the Waddle and Sylvie Show tomorrow at 2:10. Hear the coach only on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago.
You've been listening to Bears Football on the Bears Radio Network.
Here comes football.
The Bears Radio Network is brought to you in part by Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, and Miller Lite. This is Bears Football on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
Thanks for listening to the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Postgame continues now on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer.
Woo boy. All right. The Bears were the get-right game for the Los Angeles Chargers this week. They conclude a Sunday of football on the Island game on Sunday Night Football, and they certainly did not keep a lot of folks up late tonight. Folks who felt like they could turn in early had no reason to stay up and watch this Sunday night game close out because the Bears really did not put up much of an effort. They fall behind very early in the game, 17-0 at one point. And from essentially that point on, it seemed like the Chargers were in cruise control. there was a whole lot more talent on the Chargers side of the football, on both offense and defense, and it showed outright. They just overwhelmed the Bears with their talents, and from that point on, there was not much the Bears really could do in a chase, come-from-behind effort. We'll talk about Matt Eberflus telling us all about the better play in the second half, but I don't know how much you really want to take from that, Pat, when you're trailing. I don't really love the moral victories in a game where the other team's just looking to put it to bed.
Yeah, no, this was a bad game through and through. This was not a moral victory game, and it's a bad game because of the other things, right? Listen, Tyson Bagent, second start, 232 yards, 6.3 yards, right? Like, couple of interceptions on the day, didn't get a passing touchdown. I can deal with my D2 rookie quarterback in his second start having a rocky time. What I can't deal with is my defense continuing to not be able to get pressure. What I can't deal with is my defense seemingly having zero idea how to tackle. Once again, the conversation on that whole hits principle thing, that seems to be just a joke at this point. I mean, like, yeah, you got a couple of takeaways last week versus Brian Hoyer, who, I mean, we came on here pretty quickly after, and we're like, yeah, it's good that the Bears got a win, but also I'm surprised Brian Hoyer is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I forgot that Brian Hoyer still existed in this NFL. So you see him go out there against the real team, and they look like to take the old adage, right? They are who we thought they were.
The truth is, the Chargers have been in their own hell all season long. And honestly, the coaching staff was certainly, I think, concerned that if they had a poor effort against the Bears tonight, that it very well could have been their last game.
Yeah.
If the Chargers had fallen to 2-5 with a loss at home to this Bears team, they certainly could have been packing up their offices today, tomorrow, however you want to look at it, because that's how dire this game was for the Chargers. The disappointing thing, though, is that when they jump out to the early lead, the Bears had nothing, and this is where my mind wandered. Not so much like Matt Eberflus at this point. It's really hard envisioning a scenario where he turns it around enough to compel people to bring him back. That doesn't seem likely. However, I'll offer up this lifeline to him in the sense that the talent disparity is so glaring at this point, and looking at the defensive side of the ball, which you referenced, was horrid today. Yeah. Name me a playmaker on this defense. I'll wait.
Listen, I would ask a lot of people, right? Like, is this not what we kind of expected when Lance Briggs came on here and said, if you don't have defensive line pressure, you're going to have trouble? Is this not what we expected when Yurko, who, played a very important position in this defense, came on these very airwaves and said, you're going to have linebackers fighting for their lives if you don't have a legitimate nose tackle to dent the pocket?
Yeah. A legit three technique, somebody who could take the blocks away and let the linebackers run unencumbered. I'll admit at the time I was a little bit skeptical of Ryan Pohl's decision to splash around the cash on the linebacking crew. I understood they needed to improve it because they chose to trade away Roquan Smith, so you certainly needed to add some bodies, some better players to your linebacking room, and that was what they decided to do during free agency. But the reality is, when you're investing in TJ Edwards, Terrell Edmonds, big bucks, right? You better be damn certain that the line that you've assembled in front of them is going to take the leap that everybody else who analyzes football, including us, we're not quite sure they were ready to make that leap. And now you just look at the defensive line the Bears have assembled, and it really is, a bunch of guys right now.
Well, I think here's the part that really is what stands out when you look at this Bears team as well. What was supposed to happen where we're building this defense up? We weren't supposed to be building this offense up. This offense was supposed to come in and be able to put up 25 plus points game in and game out. When I have an offense that's able to put up 25 plus points game in and game out, versus a lot of these teams we played, this defense has been good enough, right? Has it been good? No, but it's been good enough for if I have that offense on the other side. I mean, 3 games this year, we've seen them give up 13 points. I think one game they gave up 19 points, but it looks more in the scoreboard because pick six going the other way, fumble recovery going the other way into the end zone.
I will say, though, the defense looks better against backup quarterbacks.
For sure, 100%.
You know, and this is the problem. You go up against Justin Herbert, who's amongst the elites. You saw Chris Collinsworth trying to wrap himself into a pretzel, trying to determine whether or not he was a top 5 quarterback in this league. Semantics, whether you want to call him a top 5 or top 7, it doesn't matter. I'll take him on my team. Nevertheless, he just waylays to the Bears. How many did he complete to start the game? He set a career high.
He was on.
I know it was 11 at one point. I lost count.
In quarter 1, he was 11 for 11. He then went 10 for 14 in quarter 2.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly when his first incompletion came, but he set a new career high out of the gates, completing his first 11 passes, and again, no resistance whatsoever. That was like, I think the real issue is that it was so easy. It came so easy. And sure, we can talk about Bagent, but when you put the rookie, in the catch-up mode, and we already know the Bears are, even when Justin's out there, listen, any player for the most part will tell you it's much easier to play out in front, right? You have so many more options available to you, so it's hard to really assess tonight's game from Tyson Bagent, excuse me, not his father. He has a bigger arm than we saw the first week. It was out there. He was throwing the ball around. But the reality was that the Chargers were never scared. And, playing from behind like they were really put the Bears and Bagent in a box. And again, I don't know if we'll see him next week. It certainly sounds like Justin Fields is trending towards possibly playing and starting next week against the Saints. So this may have been the last Bagent start for the season. What do we take? My only takeaway at this point is that we've got a solid backup at the very least on the roster.
My takeaway is, can we start having the conversation on all the other things that a quarterback needs to be successful? That's where I look at it as, right? Like, I'm glad I wanted the kid to play well. I really did. Like, if anybody tuned in with the watch party and stuff like that, like, I literally was on there like, come on, kid, let's go. Put the ball down the field. I was cheering when he put us in a position to score a touchdown. Yeah, I wanted Velus to make that catch. I was fuming right along with you. We'll talk about that as well. Jeez, here we go. Hey, look, and he's a pro in the post game. I'm not gonna lie to you. He is an absolute dog when it comes to the post game conversation.
Tyson Bagent has it down in the post game presser after a loss. Yeah, it was the first one, but he had the moxie of a 10-year vet.
I was like, I'm sorry, did we draft or pick up a 10-year veteran in the league out here? But
we will let you hear it in its entirety, but a little snippet here that Pat was just alluding to. He was asked, I believe it was Brad Biggs who put it to him, listen, Tyson, did you think that you had a touchdown when you let that throw go to a wide open Velus Jones Jr.? And I'll implore you to listen carefully to the beginning here, because you can almost hear the wheels working in Tyson Bagent's head. He starts to go down a path that he immediately recognizes is not going to end well. And so he turns into, veteran mode. You'll hear it when he goes into it, but this was Bagent answering the question, did you think you had a touchdown with the wide open Velus Jones in the end zone?
Yeah, I felt good about it, but, always going to trust the guys that are out there. Got full faith in Velus. I've seen him make plays like that a million times. So
what
that happens again next week and the week after that, still gonna make it a point to get him the ball.
He's seen him do what a million times there? He's seen him make what play?
The ball a million times.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I've been trying to figure out like what play he saw him make. Like, me and you were talking upstairs about that. I was like, I don't think I've seen him make that play in college. I don't think I've seen him make that play in high school. I don't think I've seen him make that play in practice. I guess gave him maybe practice.
Oh, Velus Jones. Velus Jones.
I think that the realistic thing with the whole Bagent versus Fields conversation is, can we finally have the conversation on, hey, guess what? J-Mac has said it. Briggs has said it. Yurko has said it. Waddle has said it. There's no play call in your playbook for 3rd and 15.
Sure.
There's no play call in your playbook for 2nd and 20. You're just trying to get yourself back into a position where you can be in 3rd and manageable and try and then be able to call a play. When your offensive line starts off the game with back-to-back penalties from the center position, you've got problems on the offensive line. When your offensive line can't snap the football, when your offensive line whiffs on blocks, like how many different things do we have to say yeah, hey guys, offensive line play is important, and I get it. Even some scheme play. I'm not as upset about Getsy's scheme in today's game as many people are. I think a lot of people fall back on that as like, this has been the issue all year. Every time a game is bad. I thought he called a similar scheme to what he called in wins, and we just didn't have the talent for it. But when you put yourself in those positions on a continuous basis, you're not going to win football games. You're going to be in 3rd and longs, and you're going to ask a D2 rookie QB to make a deep pass over the middle while Khalil Mack and Bosa are trying to get him to the ground. That's not an easy thing for a guy to do in year 2. And I thought, for the most part, Bagent navigated that really well today.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bosa. He also comes up with the big sack on that first drive to take them out of field goal range after they do hit the big completion to Darnell Mooney. The 41-yard bomb to begin the game was a nice catch by Darnell Mooney. You thought the Bears might come out and start cooking with gas there. I was amused because I think before he even said a word on the broadcast, Chris Collinsworth was chuckling to himself. I think the first actual audible sounds out of his mouth when the Bears had the ball was him just chuckling because he couldn't believe Bagent completed the long bomb to Mooney, and all of a sudden he could envision a scenario where Bagent was going to take over Sunday Night Football, and we were going to be talking about the potentially next Kurt Warner in this league. That did not unfold, unfortunately for us, the way I think Chris Collinsworth may have been dreaming of as he was laughing out loud on the broadcast after that completion. But it does make you wonder, too, what's with the call? The Trent Taylor, are you serious? Like,
what are you doing?
Why are we manufacturing touches for? It's bad enough we're manufacturing touches for Velus Jones throughout the game at times. Trent Taylor is going to get an end around with the 3rd play of the game after you just made a nice splash play, a big explosive to put yourself in great position, and then the decision is, all right, we need to get Trent Taylor the ball, Pat.
It falls back on the same things we've been asking, and it comes down to, is there just a limit to what these guys can accomplish? And listen, maybe one day, we'll look back at this with Getsy and say, well, he used this opportunity to figure out how to call an offense consistently. But there's too many inconsistencies with this team. There's too many weeks where it's like, no, that makes perfect sense. You handed the ball off to D'Onta Foreman. He punched people in the mouth on the way to 8 yards per game. That makes absolutely perfect sense. In this game, he got 4 carries in the second half, and I get it. You're down big. Maybe that makes a difference. But he only had 5 carries in the first half. Now, he wasn't running the football as well, but that was something that you were able to lean on for your rookie quarterback. I commended him in that Raiders game because he was more willing to say, we gotta make this thing easier for this young man. Hand the football off to D'Onta Foreman and let him do what he can do.
Yeah, to that point, I think the big blow was after the Chargers scored their first touchdown, the Bears go 3 and out the very next drive. And then before you can blink, they score another touchdown, and it's 14-0. And now that everybody on the sidelines, Luke Getsy included, is reevaluating how they're going to approach the game plan. To your point, I'm not sure they should have. Honestly, if you were going to come back in this game, it was probably always going to be leaning heavily on D'Onta Foreman running the football. And the Chargers, even though they've been better this year, especially the last couple games than they have in the past, they traditionally, over the last few years under Staley, have been a team you could run all over. And the fact that the Bears did not try to go to that more often with a rookie quarterback under center making a second start was kind of baffling again. Yeah, no one likes to try and come from behind by running the football to get back into it, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. You see coaches way too often give up on the run just because they're trailing by a couple of scores. Do not get it. 312-332-3776. We're hanging out with you for a while today. The post-game show talking about a Bears loss to the Chargers. They now fall to 2-6. And it's not the only reason they're lost, that is, as for why it was a bad weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up next.
The new home of the Bears.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need some headlight bulbs.
You can earn a $10 bonus reward when you buy 2 Sylvania Silver Star Ultra bulbs.
Get in the zone. Wait, my wiper blades are streaking too. I need some new ones.
Right now, you can earn a $15 bonus reward when you buy 2 Rain X Quantum wiper blades. With new blades and bulbs, you'll see better on the road.
Get in the zone, Wow, how do you remember all these deals?
Call it Second Sight.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Offer valid for AutoZone Rewards members. Restrictions apply.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online. Qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
Get ready for your college football Saturday slate with Chicago's College Tailgate. Host Tyler Rocky and Shane Orling put the spotlight on the week's big matchups. Brought to you by Twin Peaks, Chicago's College Tailgate. Saturday at 10 on ESPN Chicago, 100.3 HD2, the ESPN Chicago app, and AM 1000. Courtney Cronin checks in from Hallis Hall and beyond all week long on ESPN Chicago. Brought to you by Purple Wave Auctions.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for all of us. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/woof or text woof to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/woof or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request. Paid for by Dr. Marty Pets.
Welcome back to Bears Postgame. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago.
They go to the pistol. Herbert on the fake takes now. Going to throw right back to Eckler. Coming up is Edwards. Got a hand on him, but he got free. Inside the 30-yard line. Sideline left to the 10 and bumped out of bounds. But is he going to be at the 2 or did he hit the pylon for the touchdown? They say touchdown Chargers.
That was the first series of the game for the Chargers. Austin Eckler takes a screen pass to the house. TJ Edwards fails to make a tackle on that play in the backfield. Now, it was always going to be a difficult tackle for him to make. I'm not putting it all on Edwards, but nevertheless, he wasn't able to slow down Eckler. And at that point, Austin Eckler looked about as healthy as he has looked all season. He's been dealing with an ankle injury. That certainly was not the case on that play. He was a thorn in the Bears' side all night long as the Chargers blow out the Bears 30-13 in LA at SoFi Stadium tonight. Again, a bit of a laugher for the Chargers. It didn't really feel like they had to exert much energy to get this one done. And that maybe is the most disappointing part as an observer watching this Bears team, is that there really wasn't a whole lot of fight from this team.
No. And the funniest thing about all of that was watching Austin Eckler. and knowing and finding out that he's a huge fantasy player and
You
he
didn't know
drafts
that?
himself.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yes.
him drafting himself is like what do you do? Like, are you just even more pissed at yourself? Like if you come up a half point short because you didn't fight for that extra yard?
Yeah. So no, there was some questions about that. Us circulating them on some text threads I'm on. I think Waddle was wondering aloud. I didn't realize NFL players could play fantasy football, and I was like,
you're
"Yeah,
not gambling, I guess.
exactly. As
Yeah.
long as you're not playing for an entry fee." Funnily enough, Austin Eckler this year, I believe, was the first year that he actually was not able to draft himself because he had like the last pick in the round, and obviously he was going very high this year, so he was unable to draft himself this year. So
I was cracking up at that. I was like, this guy's like going out there and drafting himself and then having himself a day.
Yeah.
He's coming home and he's like, good job. I won for me. But I thought, listen, as far as the fight that this team had, it goes back to the leadership that this team has, the principles that this team is supposedly built on.
Yeah.
How much of that hits principle did we see today?
It's been good. The last 3 weeks, our tackling has been really good. They've been in the fives, which is elite. Last week, I think we had 8 or 9, which is okay. But again, today wasn't what it wanted to be. We've been working our tail off on it in practice. Been working on our angles. Been working on that exact thing, and it's been paying off for us. And today, it did not. We got to go back and look at the tape, and we got to get better at that fundamental skill. I thought we did a better job in the second half. Cupping the ball and keeping explosives down. But again, when you're playing a team like that, you got to do a really good job with their skill, and they have some good skill on their team.
Why do you think that was an issue? Was it a lack of focus defensively?
No, it always comes down to fundamentals to me. It's fundamentals. It's about being in there and having the right mindset and understanding how to attack the football. And again, once I got them in the locker room there, they were good in the second half.
They turned it around in the second half. Pat.
Yeah, that was
They were trailing 24-7 at halftime, but after that, they held the Chargers to a 6-6 tie in the second half. If you want to look at it that way.
It's getting, and no disrespect, but it's getting Awani levels of Postgame out here, right? Like how Awani would be like, if we made those 2 tackles in the second, and those 3 tackles in the fourth, we wouldn't have got beat by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, if we didn't give up that 80-yard run.
You know what I mean? Like it's getting to those levels with Flus where it's like, okay, bro, like what are you teaching these guys in practice?
He's a geometry teacher. He's teaching them angles, Pat.
Well, listen, I love angles on tackling. You know what I don't love? When my tacklers don't put their arms out and wrap them around the guy that's trying to go past them. Everybody's trying to hit stick everybody on the team. Like, this is not Madden. I'm not left joysticking it up every time you go. Can you say that on the radio? I'm not left joysticking it up every time I try to go in there and hit a guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to do the wrap gang tackles that we've seen. I will say this. Over the last 3 weeks, we have seen that more. I don't know what changed mentally here.
I don't think anything mentally changed. I think they were up against a more talented opponent for the first time in a few weeks. When the talent disparity was massive, and that even accounts for the fact that Mike Williams, is on injured reserve.
Right.
Gerald Everett was inactive tonight for the Chargers. A couple of their better pass catching players were not even available to them, and yet still they have some elite level players. And listen,
but why does that mean your fundamentals died? Like, their tackling fundamentals over the last 3 weeks have been better. I will give them that.
Yes, but I would suggest when you've got a Justin Herbert throwing the ball exactly where he wants to put it and leading his receivers in spots where they have an opportunity to create big yak, it's not so much a fundamentals issue. It's you're not putting any pressure on the quarterback who can put the ball basically anywhere he wants to very consistently. And when he's given enough time to do that and he can pick out his spots and your defensive backs aren't tight enough, well, then he's going to eat you alive. And I truly believe that's what happened tonight is the Chargers. And it wasn't all night long. It was in the first half. But they ran out in front and they never looked back. And this is where, too, I will defend Matt Eberflus a little bit and say, but it still comes back to him as well.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Poles, where they chose to invest, without really sinking some cash and draft capital into the defensive line, DeMarcus Walker still on a milk carton these days.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
Unique Ngakoue.
But that's a tough one. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a tough one.
I mean, he was your big splurge.
Yeah. But where they chose to invest, this is the part where when we look at the defense, to me, the defense was going to be better, but it was always going to be what it was going to be. Because the second they went Darnell Wright, you picked offense over defense.
Correct.
Your goal was to score more points than the other team.
But
that's why I go and I look and I'm like, okay, when we see the inconsistencies from Luke Getsy, when we see the inconsistencies at the center position, when we see, the left tackle position, I said coming in, I probably would have taken, what was the young man? Broderick Jones, I think was the left tackle from Georgia. I said I probably would have taken him.
To get that left side secured.
That left side secured up. But I'm not mad at Darnell Wright either.
Sure, he's played really well.
He played really well today, but you made a commitment to the offensive side going to get DJ Moore. Chase Claypool is what he is. He ends up getting up out of here. But paying Cole Kmet, bringing in Robert Tonyan, that's what was supposed to take the next step. The defense was supposed to be this thing that right now was we want to make this competent.
Maybe, but let's not ignore their biggest money expenditure was on Edmonds. You know what I'm saying? And this is where I get down to the philosophy with Ryan Poles. I think it was a poor decision right now, and it's really turning out to be the case, to spend all the money on the linebackers, all the higher draft capital on the defensive backfield, and kind of just wade your way through the defensive line. Because when we're talking about defense, it all comes down to the defensive front. Yep. And getting pressure and getting there, because you can accumulate all the solid second round, defensive backs you want. The reality is they're never going to be able to cover long enough if you're not generating pressure. And I think that's what we're seeing really play out here against better quarterbacks. The Bears don't have any real pressure coming from the defensive line.
Here's the only question I would ask.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you want them to go get? Was there a D lineman outside? Yannick was the one that we often talked about, right? He was the one that we were we need edge pressure. Mm-hmm. You got to go get a guy. They went out and got Yannick Ngakoue. Who did we really want them? I get it.
So Draymond Jones was out there, and they were rumored to be interested.
They were interested, and he got ridiculous money.
And it's just, I guess I get back to Matt Eberflus, and this is where the fault does fall on him a little bit.
Yeah.
If it's so critical to have a game-breaking 3 technique, you've got to pound the table and tell Ryan Poles, we need this guy. We cannot continue to wait. We need somebody. And, I wanted Jalen Carter. I understand the red flags that were surrounding him. I'm happy Darnell Wright's playing the way he is, but I still thought Jalen Carter was the harder position to fill. So I would have preferred that. But I get back to Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, really, spending a good chunk of your free agent dollars on those 2 players who were very successcul, but why were they successful in Buffalo and Philadelphia?
Pressure up front. And that's the number one thing we said. Yeah, no, 100%. But it's just the only name, who was there was one more from the Eagles. Because we got TJ.
Yes. He went with the Niners. Kilgrove, Hargrave.
Javon Hargrave, right?
Yes.
There was him from the Niners. He was, I'm sorry, not from the Niners, from the Eagles.
Signed with the Niners.
He was the one that I was like, maybe you go out and get him. But outside of that,
well, listen,
there weren't a ton of names where we were like, we have to get this guy.
Whether it was him, Draymond Jones, Jalen Carter, you didn't get any of those.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing, though, all the money you spent on Edmonds and Edwards is not really paying dividends because they're running around being blocked.
Yeah.
And they're not having the opportunity to make the impact plays. Hang tight, folks. 312-332-3776. I promise we will take your calls coming up next. I'm Jeff Meller, along with Pat the Designer, hanging out with you on the Postgame show on ESPN Chicago.
ESPN Chicago.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online. Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Childhood should be the happiest time of life. But for many children living in poverty with blindness, facial deformities, and other crippling conditions, it's riddled with pain, rejection, shame, and isolation. At Mercy Ships, we're answering the cries of some of the world's most forgotten children and adults through free, life-changing surgeries that turn despair into hope. These once heartbroken boys and girls, and many men and women too, are now restored, accepted, and on their way to a life of opportunity and joy. No one can change the world on their own, but together we can transform it by restoring hope to one person, one child at a time. Volunteers from your community and around the globe are bringing life-changing healing and hope to the forgotten poor. To learn how you too can help change the world, one child at a time, go to mercyships.org today.
The new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. More Bears postgame is coming up. WMVP, WSHE HD2, Chicago. Here comes the ball.
Bears busted up in LA 30-13. The Chargers moved to 3-4 and dropped the Bears to 2-6 on the season. I'm Jeff Meller along with Pat the Designer, hanging out with you until 2 tonight on ESPN 1000 and the ESPN Chicago app. Just a whole lot of nothing to really. I was trying as the game was winding down, Pat. I was trying to remember and think through the game of like one standout moment.
You're looking for a little nugget.
Something.
That was the first play of the game.
Something where, I guess. But the problem is, right, that doesn't even result in points. And that was a situation where clearly the Bears caught the Chargers with their pants down. They're like, they're going to be playing press coverage and daring us to throw deep with Bagent, so let's come out and do it on the first play. Kudos, it worked. But then it doesn't result in any points.
Have we taken a college approach in the NFL? Did I miss that rule change where when it's blown dead, if you like to me, like Darnell, shouldn't he have like keep running on that? Like I was really confused by that.
Yes.
It did. We got beat so bad it didn't matter.
No,
but it was one of those things where I was like, he should have run that into the end zone so that Matt Nagy can throw. Or Matt, we were talking about Nagy in the break there. Matt Eberflus can throw the challenge flag. Like you put you didn't realize kind of.
Well, they blew him dead, so even it wouldn't have been.
He couldn't have challenged a touchdown, but the spot would have been much closer because they didn't blow him dead until he was like 10 more yards down the field, and he didn't even run that hard at that point.
Yeah, and Matt Eberflus did address that in the postgame. He said that's a coaching point is that he told him you got to just hop up and house it
and go.
But it's one of those things where again, it's always in the aftermath, right? Like, how often is this type of play going to unfold during a season? Probably just once.
Yeah.
So maybe next year or 2 years from now, when Darnell Mooney's playing for another team and that unfolds, maybe he can take the coaching points that Matt Eberflus gave him tonight after the play. Yeah. But that's the type of stuff that just cannot happen. And you hate to hear the admission from the head coach in the post game that I talked to him about it and I said, listen, just force the refs to be indecisive in that moment and just hop up and run to that. Yeah, it's not hard. It's again. That's just a little bit of effort in that instance that was not there tonight. It seemed like the entire Bears team did not come out with any real urgency or effort, and the Chargers took advantage of that. Let's try David, who's in Indiana. What's going on, David? You're on with Meller and Pat.
What's happening, David?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys?
What's happening, man?
You tell us.
I got a couple things, but the main thing I want to say is, what are you talking about the defensive line? you got to go back to the free agency. There were 4 big-name free agents, 3 actually. Payne from Washington.
Well, he was David. He was franchise. Payne was franchise.
Right? So you got to take him off the board.
Yes.
But then you had Jones from Denver
Correct.
who went to Seattle.
Yes.
And then you had
We said his name, Draymond Jones. Correct.
Right. Then you had the kid from
Philadelphia.
And then you had Ngakwe. Okay. And everybody begged and whined for Ngakwe. They waited until the last minute to sign him. And then, the guy Hargrove from Philadelphia went to San Francisco.
So Hargrave
These
and
guys were winners.
no.
Okay.
But the point is, David, Hargrave and Jones signed long-term big money deals, and Ngakwe is now on. Is it 7th? Is this his 7th team?
Right, but a one-year deal again, right?
Yeah, well, that's the point. Clearly, and Unique Ngakwe was hanging around until training camp had already begun, right? So clearly,
he was signed after training.
He's
like
been,
last week of training camp.
I agree.
The league has their notes on Ngakwe, and they don't believe he's somebody you break the bank for. The Bears didn't break the bank for him. A 1 year, what was it, $11 million?
$10.5 million.
Yeah, that's not.
I agree with that. My thing is, you spent a 2nd and a 3rd round draft pick on defensive line help.
Yes.
There was no defensive end that was worth the money, that had big money on it. I can't blame those other guys for who they signed with. They chose that. I don't know whether the Bears made a contract offer to them or not.
Well,
but the bottom line is they chose to go somewhere else.
No, and listen, David, fair point, and that's what happens in free agency is that you're at the whim of the players as well because they have the choice here, right? To your point about, whether it's Dexter, Pickens, whatever polls, whoever he's choosing to invest in, whatever it happens to be, it's not enough, and he's picking the wrong players at this point. It's become evident, right? Like that's the problem.
I don't know if you can say that after 1 year for a rookie, though. For 7 games?
Listen, Dexter, Pickens, they may certainly turn into solid pros. They may even have Pro Bowls in their future. I don't know. Hard to tell. At this point, neither has impressed me all that much. What I will say, though, is that would you agree that I think most Bears fans gave Ryan Poles a whole lot of latitude last season, the way it unfolded, because we all understood that he had to tear down the roster.
Right.
Would you agree with that, David? Don't you think most Bears fans were more than happy to give him some grace and weren't too critical about the way last season unfolded?
Absolutely. But we also knew it wasn't a 1 year fix.
The thing is, though, David,
Dexter and Pickens could end up being backups next year to whoever else comes in free agency or the draft.
Correct. But
or they can ascend and be better players.
Certainly, but the problem is this year you are exactly where you were last year. In fact, it seems like it actually may be worse.
Yeah.
Because there's less
I
hopes
agree with that part.
What's up?
I agree with that.
Because it seems like, and thanks for the call, David. It seems like at least last year we had the hope of Justin Fields potentially being a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people are waning on that. And again, I'll give him credit. Ryan Poles has set the Bears up so that they have the outs on the franchise quarterback. If they want it, they can go ahead and either move up in the draft with their 2 first-round picks, or maybe they'll be really fortunate and land a 1st or 2nd overall pick, and so they don't even have to move up.
I think here's the tough part is, right, like we're talking about him investing more into the nose tackle part of the defense, or the 3 technique, right? The 3 technique part of the defense, and of course the nose tackle next to him. That's what Pickens and Dexters are supposed to be.
Correct.
And they haven't developed into that to this point. And that is a issue that we do have right now because Dexter was a 2nd round pick. You thought you would have seen more from him by now.
Or you would have hoped.
You would have hoped that you'd see
Jones,
more from him right now.
Justin Jones is still starting.
Yeah, and there's that. But the number one thing that I took out of this free agency, as soon as we went into the draft, was we're going to try and do more on offense. I'm going to go get DJ Moore. I'm going to trade, right, like the number 1 overall pick for draft capital and DJ Moore. I'm going to go get a right tackle who looks to be a really, really good right tackle. We're going to put Tevin Jenkins hopefully in a position to have success. Like those are the things that I wanted to see this team do, because what's your biggest question? My biggest question isn't if Tremaine Edmonds can play. My biggest question isn't, can we go find defensive linemen? I've been a Bears fan my entire life. You too. There's Bears fans out here who are 70 years old. The entire logo is built off of defensive linemen and linebackers. We'll find more defensive linemen and linebackers.
However,
I guarantee that.
The thing is, though, I try not to fall into that trap because, again, Ryan Poles has been here for 2 years. All that stuff you're talking about, the Bears being built on defense and solid defensive line is true.
Yeah.
But those were with different architects. Ryan Poles, this is the first crack at that he's had, and so far, I'm just wondering, about the logic behind it. I just think it's a poor use of your resources to pour into linebackers before you feel like you're set on the line. And if he felt like he was set on the line, it's clearly not playing out the way he anticipated it would.
I don't think you feel like you're set. I think you feel like your best case scenario, right? It's the same as going with now. Here's if we want to have the conversation on should you have gone all in on offense, right? You draft Javon Dexter ahead of center. Who's the center?
John Michael Schmitz.
John Michael Schmitz, right? John Michael Schmitz looks like he's going to be a really good center. You could have gone all in on the offensive side of the football. Now, if we want to have that conversation, I can live with that. But your biggest question coming into this season is, can your franchise quarterback operate if he's given a good enough scenario? We've seen a couple of weeks where it feels like that. We've seen more weeks where it feels like it isn't. And I think that's the part where a lot of Bears fans have frustrations is because everybody came into this season and said, we got to know what Justin Fields is. We have to know what he's going to be. We have to know if he can be a competent quarterback. I got a right tackle that's helping him out a lot week in and week out. And I've got a number one wide receiver that I know is a number one wide receiver. We just want to see him answer those questions. And the fact that he hasn't answered those questions puts questions on everything else.
Well, and, that's why it's incumbent on him to hopefully get back out onto the field and start playing very quickly because, we're now 2 less games that he had a chance to prove that he is that guy to this front office. And truth be told, you can disagree with me if you want. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like we're trending in the direction of the front office leaning against Justin Fields. I could be wrong. I think right now where we're at, I don't think they've seen enough to invest in him as their franchise quarterback.
I don't think you have any answers. And that's the worst case scenario for him.
Yeah,
but
and I'm not saying they've definitively said he's not that. He's not the guy. I'm saying though, based on where we're at right now, I think he still has work to do, and he has less games to do it in now to prove to this front office that he's the guy they're going to go forward with.
Yeah, 100. But it also goes to he's got 2 games where he did. The one game for me, the Vikings game for me, I know a lot of Bears fans look at that and say, well, look at him. He was right back to what he was. His center was snapping footballs over his head. That makes it very hard to play for. I don't care what anybody says, like it does. And the part that people forget with Tyson Bagent, who played really well after that, played well in the next game, played okay in this game, right? Like he wasn't good until they took the guy out that we kept in for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
So I look at those scenarios and I'm like, he's got 2 games already. Can you come back and be in this situation that Bagent was in that he threw, what did he throw today? 236, I believe. Yeah, I mean, wasn't able to get a touchdown. Can you turn some of those moments into touchdowns? Like, that's all we got to see now. You got the Saints coming up next week. Can you get back on the field first off for that Saints game? It seems like we're trending towards that, but you never know.
It's a thumb.
With Flus in them,
listen, he's going to have to be able to grip the ball and rip it. And I don't think we have. Obviously, he was ruled out today.
Yeah.
I think they still need
early.
Yeah, they need the swelling to go down, and they need to see him actually be able to hold the football and throw it the way they need him to throw the football. So if we don't hear positive stuff from Eberflus tomorrow with Waddle and Sylvie, he'll be joining them at 2:10 tomorrow, or I guess today, actually 2:10 p.m.
Here in 12 hours.
Here on Monday morning. 13 hours from now, you'll be hearing Matt Eberflus live with Waddle and Sylvie. And so if we don't hear some positive news from him tomorrow about Justin Fields' status, then it's still a huge question because, we're that much closer to, how much can you heal up in a couple of days? That's, going to be I don't know. We won't have any clarity really unless Eberflus starts dropping some breadcrumbs for us to kind of lead us in that direction. So it'll be interesting. I hope he can get back out onto the field quicker so that we can see him play better, and then maybe he can prove to the front office that he should be the guy going forward. That would be a great thing because As I noted, it was a bad weekend for the Bears, not just because they looked bad against the Chargers, but the Panthers get their first win. They beat the Texans today 15-13, and sure enough, wouldn't you know it, Eddie Pinheiro kicks the game-winning field goal for the Panthers, and it really felt like I watched a lot of that game. The Texans had plenty of opportunities to go ahead and take it, but they just didn't want it. They kept getting in their own way, and they let the Panthers hang around, and eventually the Panthers did just enough to go ahead and win that one 15-13. So the Bears still sit with that Panthers pick with the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
However, things got a little bit tighter, and the Packers of all teams are now lurking around as a possibility to land in the top couple of picks. So
well, they keep it the same and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and just not draft the right position in the first. Not draft the right position in the first round.
I don't think they've been too happy with him at all. All right, 312-332-3776. We will let you hear from Tyson Bagent coming up and continue to take your calls right here on the Post-Game Show.
ESPN Chicago.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/woof or text woof to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/woof or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request. Paid for by Dr. Marty Pets.
Get ready for your college football Saturday slate with Chicago's College Tailgate. Host Tyler Rocky and Shane Orling put the spotlight on the week's big matchups. Brought to you by Twin Peaks. Chicago's College Tailgate. Saturday at 10 on ESPN Chicago. 100.3 HD2, the ESPN Chicago app, and AM 1000. Courtney Cronin checks in from Hallis Hall and beyond all week long on ESPN Chicago. Brought to you by Purple Wave Auctions.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. It's like tiny nails in the air poke my lungs. I start to cough. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
Today, 1 out of 13 children suffer from some form of asthma, accounting for nearly 1/3 of all emergency room visits.
I feel like I'm choking. It's kind of like an elephant is on my chest. A little whistle sound comes out when I breathe.
But while your child may suffer from asthma doesn't have to make your child suffer. There are simple ways you can prevent your child's next attack. To learn more, log on to www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA, the Ad Council, and this station.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Postgame continues now on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer.
Under a minute to go here in this first quarter. Football at the 9. Herbert is the quarterback, takes the snap, pockets clean, holds it, throws it on the crosser. It's Fehoko into the end zone for the touchdown.
Clowned by the Chargers at SoFi and clowned by the Chargers on social media.
I believe that was Fajoko's first offensive snap of the year there, Jeff.
Of course it was, Pat. Of course it was. And if you missed it, The Chargers are very good at Xing or tweeting, if you will. And sure enough, they did a quick 7-second video recap where they memed Tim Robinson as the Bears saying, "I didn't do bleeping bleep."
It's pretty good
tonight.
Pretty
Yeah,
elite.
it's what the Chargers. It may be what the Chargers do best, and that's social media, which is not great when you're a football team, but nevertheless, they took advantage of the 30-13 win over the Bears tonight. Bears fall to 2-6 now. Take on the Saints next week. That will be a noon kick, so the Bears can hide amongst the other NFL games and not be subjected to a national audience for once. We can.
Do you apologize to America every week like I do when we're on these games?
No, I tell them take it like I have to take it every week. Let's just like feel our pain. Feel our pain. Deal with it. Empathize with us, please. See how we feel.
They mostly laugh.
Let's try Chase, who's on the south side. Our buddy Chase. What's going on, Chase?
Chase.
Hey, what's happening, fellas? How you
What's
guys
happening,
doing?
brother?
You're
How you
happening.
Oh man,
I feel that.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I want these coaches fired. I don't really wish people to lose their jobs, but it's obvious the team has a coaching problem. I mean, if you watch this team, look, you can see the players. The players look unprepared. There's too many times where we watch this team consistently play, and you can just watch them play. Look at the game plan. It's just there are times that when we see them, they don't look prepared. They look disorganized. The play calling, it's just all fronts. The 26 coaches they have hired all need to go. And it's just year after year after year, we keep having the same problem. It's just at some point, it's got to stop. It just gets to the point where it's just starting to wear on the fan base where we just cannot seem to get it right, whether it's the coaching, the quarterback. Something's got to give. Another thing is, can we finally just say, can we please just cut Velus? They have to cut him. And my thing is this. If the coaches can see that he can't play, then that falls on the coaching too, because it's obviously he can't play in his league. Yet they keep putting him out there, knowing that he can't play, but yet they keep playing him. And that's on the coaching as well, because why are you constantly sending him out there knowing that he is not a good football player? Those things is why this team is 5-29 in the last 2 years, because of idiotic decisions like that. You keep putting a player like Velus out there knowing that he can't play. And it's just one of the things of why this team are where they are.
Yeah, Chase, listen, the Velus Jones conversation, at this point, everybody's on board with it except Coach Hightower. It's the only one. He's the only one. There's no.
Well, maybe polls.
You're keeping. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yes, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But it's at what point do you just start undermining your coaches and saying, "I know you're beating the table for this guy, but get out." You know what I mean?
We went through it last week. You're devoting 3 roster spots to Velus Jones, Trent Taylor, and Travis Homer. You know what I mean?
And one of the 2 of them can do a better job than he can. DJ Moore can do a better job than he can. You can literally put Justin Fields back there with a broken thumb. You want to know why? Because all he's got to do is wave his hand over his head and let the ball go over him. They're not utilizing him for anything. And another mistake mentally on the kickoff, or on the punt, right? How are you running into a guy? How are you you're literally out there. You're not Cordero Patterson, but I don't know. What do you think? You're out there because they need something for you to do.
It's
at least do it well.
It's mind-boggling. He's still on the active roster. At the very least, he should be relegated to the practice squad. But somehow, some way, he's still hanging on. They're so afraid someone would scoop him up and he wouldn't make it to the practice squad. I'm sorry. It would be good riddance. I immediately said, you know what, buy that man a plane ticket on Southwest home, because honestly, Like, he should not have been allowed back on the team flight at this point.
I'd let him buy his own ticket.
I mean, listen,
I'd let him buy his own ticket, or just stay here, see if they'll pick you up.
that's just me being a little bit older and more generous in my old age than you, Pat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, that drop was horrid, and he should not even be in positions at this point to make those drops. He should not.
He's a player that, at this point, we need to be viewing Velus Jones like an offensive lineman. The only time you're good is when I don't hear your name.
But you know what?
But he's a third-round pick that's supposed to be a receiver.
Yeah, it's hard. And he's not Equanimous St. Brown. He's certainly not blocking
at least block,
anybody.
You know what I mean?
James is in New Lenox. What's going on, Jimmy?
Hey guys,
how you doing?
Man, well, better than most because I expected this. I'd like to think I'm a realist, so this didn't really surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
I was on with Peggy and Yerk, and I was mentioning how I couldn't believe he dropped that ball either, and that he was so open. It reminded me of like being college open.
Yeah.
That being said, like, I'd have to watch it again. I don't even think they covered him. Maybe I think they just let him run right down the field.
James, we had the same discussion. Real quick, we had the same discussion before the show started. When we were listening to Bagent do the presser, and we were laughing about, for those who missed it, and we will let you hear Bagent in his entirety. But don't go anywhere, James. For those who missed it, this was Tyson Bagent when he was asked, did you think you had a touchdown when you let the ball go for a wide open Velus Jones in the end zone?
Yeah, I felt good about it, but always gonna trust the guys that are out there. I got full faith in Velus. I've seen him make plays like that a million times. So
that's what it is.
Next week and the week after that, still gonna.
You know what?
Make it a point to get him the ball.
We were talking about how he has the moxie of a 10-year vet already. If you listen to that, he said, I've seen him make plays like that a million times. He meant the drop, James.
He meant the drop.
It just hit me. Tyson Bagent, we're on to your games.
You savvy veteran, you.
Damn.
He's so good.
So Meller.
Yes.
I talked to you this morning about the fantasy stuff, right?
Yes. I was on early this morning.
I ended up going with Hunt.
Kareem Hunt.
I just went over for him, and I just ran into a buzzsaw. My guy I was facing had Dak, and he had ATM, so it was crushing me.
Nothing you can do. That'll happen.
I did end up trading Hawkinson, though, which was weird because it was after the Vikings game.
Mm-hmm.
I traded him straight up for Ayuk, who's on bye next week.
Yeah.
I needed a receiver, so it kind of works out. But,
no, I like that move. I think it's solid. Which leads. I'm going to let you go, James, because I do want to Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out late at night. That leads us perfectly to an NFL hot take that Pat's been microwaving for us up all night long here. He had a chance to take in some NFL action that he doesn't always get to see when the Bears are taking up monopolizing his time.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I watched so much football today. And, with the NBA coming back, I'm a huge basketball fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably my favorite sport, but I think I realized how great football is because I sat there on 4 screens watching 4 different games. I also had Red Zone on the laptop, and I just kept going. The NFL is not good this year. It is a horrible league this year. And I watched every second of it and loved every second. The NFL is such a great sport that they can put out a subpar product.
Yes.
I've never seen anything like this. Like, if you watched a TV show and 12 of the 14 episodes were bad, you'd go, this is a bad show.
I'm out.
I watched so many football games today, and I think the only good game that I might have saw, I can't even think of one now.
Seattle, Cleveland.
No. Like, that game just kind of existed.
I'm not giving you Philly, Washington, because that game was, although A.J. Brown making stupid catches.
What was a good game? It was a good game, but it wasn't a good game at the same time. Eagles-Commanders was a good game, but it wasn't a good game.
Saying. Like A.J. Brown making those, like, A.J. Brown is a beast, man. And the 2 touchdown catches he made in that game were absurd. But the Eagles were just letting Washington hang around.
15 games today, all 15 of them were horrible.
I pretty much agree with you. Real quick, because you brought up we mentioned that Washington rumors circulating that they're considering selling off some of their pieces, especially their defensive linemen. Chase Young and Montez Sweat's name both coming up in trade rumors today. Would you have interest in either of those players? And the Bears obviously would have to give up a draft pick or two to obtain that.
And we had seen
no first rounders.
No, we had seen the capital that they were asking for is basically a second or a third round pick. I think for that, I'd be interested in it because I know Chase is 24. Montez is how old?
He's young.
He's 26 maybe at most.
Think, yeah, and honestly, Montez Sweat, he's been on the field more often, and he's basically a lock for 7-8 sacks every year.
I'm personally in on it because
Sweat's 27.
He's 27. I'd be in on it because I do believe that even with the things you still need to get in the draft, you still need to build out this team with veterans. Yes, you want to go as young as possible, but you need to have guys in place that help those young guys transit. The reason Jalen Carter looked so good in the beginning is because he's on Philly.
Of course.
Just don't screw up and get back there.
I agree. Sweat, since he's come into the league in 2019, he's had sack totals of 7, 9, 5, 8, and he's got 5.5 in 8 games this year. So, I mean, he's a sack every other game for you, and that's something the Bears are sorely lacking.
Young is the higher ceiling, which is the scary part.
He is. I will.
But the injuries scare the heck
injuries.
Out of me.
You're absolutely right. The injuries, and what I'll say is he had no responsibility. He had no regard for his defensive integrity and responsibilities against the Bears.
No.
He was running all over the place, just trying to grab a few sacks on Justin.
I think that is I think that's a blank show, as they call it. Yeah. I mean, like, that's just a situation where guys are just trying to get their numbers at this point and make themselves look good. Like who was it? Jonathan Allen talked kind of after that game, and
he went off.
He snapped about it, and I just. When the situation gets bad, guys start to look out for themselves, and that's what it feels like is happening there. Like, guys are just looking out for themselves versus looking out for the success of the team. Even though, listen, 3-5, you're still technically in it. You're not out of it. And again, back to how bad the NFL is. You're not out of it at 3-5, but I don't know. That I'd be
intrigued, especially.
I'd be intrigued because you still need that position.
I'll tell you what, especially if it ends up being a 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
And the Bears, obviously, with their record, might be more enticing to grab their 3rd round pick than another team that might be offering up for one of those guys. So Chase Young, I don't know if you can get it done for a 3rd, but if you can get Montez Sweat for a 3rd, I'd be intrigued by that. I'm Jeff Meller, along with Pat, the designer. We're hanging out with you. I see we have a man who's hanging out in Hawaii, which that's the great thing about being on at 1:30 in the morning, Pat. We
get the
we're
overseas
right
calls.
on Hawaii time.
Almost said international.
So we'll take that call, and we'll let you hear from Tyson Bagent after the game in full coming up next.
The new home of the Chicago Bears.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
No idea how to find each other.
My husband, kept the kids
tried
occupied.
calling our son, but there was no reception. Everything was down. I felt like breaking
we handled
down and
everything
crying,
very
but
well.
I had to try and stay calm.
The whole experience was fine.
Was the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
It was kind of like a
the
little
nightmare
family
every
adventure.
mother hopes will never happen to her.
I remember
the
the
moment
relief of
that
being
I
together.
realized he was out there all alone.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm
don't ignore
and keep
this
to the
message.
plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey America, we are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
Enroll! So listen to me, a talking pug, you see. If you get health insurance, preventive care is now free.
So sweet. You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options. That's getcoveredamerica.org.
And take care, people!
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
Postgame continues now on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer.
Back breaking down another Bears loss. They lose 30-13 at SoFi Stadium to the Chargers. Not very competitive from the Bears. In fact, Matt Eberflus chose not to use his final timeouts, and he actually let Tyson Bagent go out and kneel down in victory formation today.
I saw that. It irritated me so much.
The problem was they were losing. They were losing by 17 points when Tyson Bagent took the knee to run the clock out. It was not a great performance all around by the Bears tonight. Let's go on out to Hawaii and say, how's it to Sean? Sean, what's going on, man?
Oh, it's pretty good except for another loss, you know.
Yeah.
But you're in Hawaii.
What's that?
I said, but you're in Hawaii.
But I'm in Hawaii, yeah. So,
Makes a difference.
usually if the game's not the night game, then you still got a lot of light left in the day to take stuff, the honeydew list and all that, you know.
We're all jealous, Sean.
I've been a Bears fan for like over 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
They oftentimes, I've often tortured myself with these kind of things, like when Steve Fuller was their quarterback and they were playing against the 49ers in 1984, the year before they won the Super Bowl. And I had it on VHS where I would watch the rewind it, and be able to see, oh my gosh, he had an open guy there to be able to get the first down, But this time you guys were talking about the Velus Jones thing, and I'm torturing myself because it's like, I swear it was 3 or 4 times that the defense actually had an interception in their hands to be able to maybe at some point turn that game around today. But yet every single time they don't get the interception. And it just feels like that's just something that since we've been through this non-talent years, has been so common. You got to go back to Lovie Smith, or maybe a one-off season like the Trubisky season, where we had so many turnovers that year, and then failed in Kmet.
Yeah,
the double doink. So
sure.
I wanted to mention that, and it because I'd listened to about 2 or 3 different post-game shows now, and nobody was talking about the about all those missed opportunities of the interceptions. And then I also wanted to say, I thought it was interesting that Chris Collinsworth was talking a lot about maybe they really want for Justin to kind of watch some of the things that Bagent is doing in the way that he releases the ball about a half a second sooner than he does in some of his decision making, that that they would like him to kind of like get something from what he's seeing, and learn from the things that he's doing right.
Well, I'll say I don't think, honestly, Collinsworth did vocalize that, but what I will say is I don't think that it was a huge secret. I think if you saw Bagent in that first game, you saw him run Getsy's offense. That's kind of the way Luke Getsy envisions the offense being run. Now, in certain situations, if the team's actually tackling better and is more into it than the Raiders were last week, you're not always going to be able to throw, near the line of scrimmage and be as successful as the Bears were last week. However, yes, I do think, I think you've said this before, Pat, like one of the biggest flaws for Justin is he holds onto the ball way too often. He takes all the sacks, that the Bears allow, a lot of them are on Justin too because he holds the ball too long. And yes, I think that's the key, Sean, is they'd like to see him get rid of the ball. But you also have to be able to process and go through your reads quickly and know who should be getting the ball. And I think that is, Justin's biggest thing that he needs to continue to get better at.
No, 100%. Like that's the number one thing.
The physical tools are unquestionable.
And the part that sucks is, right, more than likely at some point that will click for him. Your hope is that it clicks here versus clicking somewhere else, because there's one thing that is undeniable. When you watch Tyson Bagent, he gets the ball out quicker. He makes his decisions quickly. We've seen Justin do that in moments. We saw him do that in the Commanders game. We saw him do that in the Denver game. And that's the Justin that we want to see. But I keep going back to this. The reason Justin got hurt is because of Justin.
Yeah.
He holds the ball for 6 seconds. And you know what? What's tough is, right, we're so focused in on Justin here, and we're focused in on, this is what he does. This is how he does it. Another thing I got to see while watching a lot of football around the NFL is there's a lot of dudes that do this. Jalen Hurts does this. Patrick Mahomes does it all the time. And I'm not saying that he's that level of guy, right? Like, you have to be completing big passes very often for you to do that. But that's kind of the product that's coming into the league. And when we see those guys that can make those quick decisions, it's like, oh, is there more there? Can we unlock more from Bagent? Maybe we can, maybe we can't. But at the end of the day, there's something there that Luke Getsy unlocked that Justin Fields was able to do that in that Minnesota game they went away from. And then they went back to it for Bagent, and he's looked good in both of the opportunities that we've seen him do it. Not today, right? Like, even the interception, he was like, it was a miscommunication. He put him on himself. I don't know what that was. I don't know where he was looking either. Like, I went back and watched that a couple of times. I was like, I don't know if DJ Moore was supposed to break back on that. But even if he was, even if that was a comeback route, the corner's standing right there.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't going to be able to get the ball to him.
Yeah. So, I'm with you on that one. That was, a bad play. But, look, he's still a rookie, and he's shown a lot more than I expected from him initially as an undrafted guy. That's NBC was showing how unlikely it was for an undrafted player to be in the position that Bagent currently is in, as, taking snaps as a starter for the Bears here. So if nothing else, it's a win for them, because I think they've identified at the very least a guy who can be a backup quarterback for them in this league. All right, let's take a quick timeout. We'll let you hear from Tyson Bagent, and if we have a little bit of time, we'll let you hear Yurko's rant as he opened the post-game show about the Bears' loss to the Chargers right here on ESPN Chicago.
ESPN Chicago. This is a Bears town. A town where names like Butkus, Sayers, and Peyton need no first name. A place where Hallis, Ditka, and Lovey led us to that final game of the season. A city where we want our coach to know the importance of beating the Packers. This is a Bears town. And we are the new home of the Bears. ESPN Chicago.
Childhood should be the happiest time of life. But for many children living in poverty with blindness, facial deformities, and other crippling conditions, it's riddled with pain, rejection, shame, and isolation. At Mercy Ships, we're answering the cries of some of the world's most forgotten children and adults through free, life-changing surgeries that turn despair into hope, These once heartbroken boys and girls, and many men and women too, are now restored, accepted, and on their way to a life of opportunity and joy. No one can change the world on their own, but together we can transform it by restoring hope to one person, one child at a time. Volunteers from your community and around the globe are bringing life-changing healing and hope to the forgotten poor. To learn how you too can help change the world, one child at a time, go to mercyships.org today.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. MS attacks the brain and spinal cord. It's the most common neurological disease leading to disability in young adults. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Join us. Together we are stronger. Walk MS fundraising accelerates research breakthroughs and life-changing breakthroughs. It will take all of our passion, determination, and fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at walkms.org.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Bears Postgame. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago.
All right, quick audible here. We did play the best Bagent where he gave you the Velus Jones. You know, if you missed it, hey, Tyson, what'd you think? Did you think you had a touchdown when you let the ball out of your hand as it was heading in Velus Jones's direction as he was standing uncovered in the end zone?
Yeah, I felt good about it, but always gonna trust the guys that are out there. Got full faith in Velus.
How many times have you seen him make that play?
Make plays like that a million times.
Plays like that.
That happens again next week and the week after that. Still gonna make it a point to get him
and
the ball.
Throw it to him and watch him drop
That's
it.
a good catch. That's a good catch by you. That's a better catch than what Velus made.
I missed it the first couple times, but now I get it. I see what he did there. It was he's a smooth operator, Tyson Bagent. Speaking of smooth operators, we all know Yurko is one. He was all weekend in Vegas, and he flew in from Vegas to break down the Bears' loss to the Chargers on the postgame, and should come as no real surprise. It left Yurko, the performance by the Bears left Yurko none too happy.
Yeah, just a bad football game. You almost went out to L.A. and you're in La La Land and all types of great things are happening out there and everything's fancy and the sun's out and you leave dreary Chicago and you go over there and you just absolutely you piddle one away. That's what you did. I didn't expect them to go and win this week anyway. You looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year. Hey, the Bears going out to play the Chargers. You didn't expect it, but you expected to see. You build on something that you did last week, and you built upon nothing you did. Guys that played well. Darnell Wright, Tevin Jenkins. Cole Kmet had a lot of receptions, but I guess you became Bagent's favorite target today. So let's just say he had a bunch of receptions. Defensively, you just took it. That's what you did. You just took it. You absorbed it and you took it. Like Joe Palooka, the fighter. Like a guy that's in there fighting Muhammad Ali and you're just in there to cash a check and you're there to get punched in the face for 15 rounds and hoping you can find a way to survive. That's what the Bears were today. They just kept taking shot after shot after shot after shot, hoping that at some point they could survive. And they didn't. They lost 2-6. You're not quite halfway there. Halfway next week is going to be, a little bit over the top. Halfway there. You bring no joy. You bring no anything to the fans of Chicago. Nothing. And the Tyler Bagent story, secret Bagent man, as my son told me, double Bagent man. That's what you got. That's what you got today. Double Bagent man. The guy that looked like he was on your team, looked like he was on your side, but may not exactly be what everybody thinks he is. So
Tyson Bagent, 25 of 37 to finish the game with 232 yards passing, finishes with 2 interceptions, a sack, and a quarterback rating, a passer rating of 62. Justin Herbert, he earned his money tonight. 31 of 40. At one point, he was perfect in the first half in double-digit pass attempts. 298 yards passing today, 3 touchdowns, no sacks, 122.7 rating for him. His average per pass was 7.5 yards, but there were times when it looked like he could do what he wanted.
Oh, absolutely.
A very soft defense that they were playing against him. Now, we have to point out, though, they were without their starting safeties. Even though Eddie Jackson was active, we found out in the pregame show that he would only be used as insurance.
Yeah.
And they were without Jaquan Brisker. And at one point, they were without one of their cornerbacks, Stevenson, as well, who went down, but I believe he returned to
well,
the
they've
game.
been without all those guys this year anyway at some point or another.
Right.
These guys have all been injured, so these young guys have been, they've had to come in and they've had to find a way to survive. The calls in the first half were so conservative. You dropped guys so far back, all they did was kind of keep a guy in the block, and then when they couldn't find anybody downfield because you had coverage downfield because everybody was 15 yards downfield, you just gave the ball to your running back or your tight end that was blocking who released late, and he got 10, 12 yards.
Right, without being
That's what he
touched.
did. Yeah, without being touched.
100
You were so conservative, and you played it so close to the vest, and you covered everything downfield, but you covered nothing underneath. So
I don't know what the second half stats were, but in the first half, Courtney Cronin had figured it out that the Bears gave up 169 yards after the catch in the first half alone.
TJ Edwards, he's a local product too, by the way. TJ Edwards, the former Eagle, the current Bear, came unblocked on the screen pass that I believe went for the touchdown, right?
Yes.
Unblocked. His jock is still on the field somewhere in that stadium because he got faked out of it, standing there, whiffed, went by. Ole goes the native of Mexico. And there went Eckler. And where did he go? Into the end zone. And what was T.J. Edmonds doing? Nothing. There with a handful of nothing. So he may have had the most tackles today. He may have jumped on a fumble. Congratulations. But as far as making any impact plays whatsoever, falling on a fumble is not an impact play. Somebody did the hard work. The ball just squirted out to you, and you flopped down on it. Flopping down on a football is not a skill. Okay? So he may have had the most tackles, but he did not play a stellar game. 49 did not play a stellar game. When you invest money in your linebackers before you invest money in your defensive line, you make a mistake. You make a mistake. So Ryan Poles investing money in the defensive line and not in the linebacker group and not in the defensive line is the wrong way to build a football team, period. That's it. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. You ask Urlacher and you ask Briggs, when were they playing their best football? When they had Ted Washington and Keith Traylor in front of them.
Right.
Those guys were monsters up front. Their lives were a whole lot easier back there. So you did what you did. You did it wrong either way. And then the other guy you keep for the love of everything holy. I don't understand why he's still on the team. You drafted a grandfather a couple of years ago.
Oh, Velus Jones.
I feel like
Jr.
he's a grandfather. 26, what was he, 29, 45?
25.
I don't know what he was.
25.
25-year-old Velus Jones Jr. Okay, when they say the moment is too big for you, when you hear those immortal words out of somebody, the moment is too big for you. The ball was underthrown. I'm going to give you the ball's underthrown.
The touchdown.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't a touchdown. It should have been a touchdown.
The would-be touchdown.
Yeah, the would-be touchdown.
One of 3 would-be touchdowns.
Not a touchdown. When they say the words, the moment is too big for you, that is for Velus Jones Jr. Why he is still on this roster, I have no idea. Ryan Poles, for the idiocy that happened with Chase Claypool, at least there was a science to it. All right, hey, this guy had a year. He did something special at the NFL level. Maybe we go and we get a weapon. We add a weapon. We got a year next year. We find out what. Complete failure. Complete failure. But at what point do you know that Velus Jones Jr. now just can't play? Can't play. Was it the penalty where he ran into the punt returner for the other team? Was it the many fumbles he had last year? Was it when he's sitting wide open in the end zone and he can't level himself off? He can't, with balance, maintain his feet when the ball is going to drop into his boiler? When do you realize that the moments, multiple moments, over the course of multiple games, that it is just too big for him and he is not an NFL player? When do you realize that? But
I've realized it, Yurko. I think Pat has realized it. I'm pretty sure J-Mac, Jason McKee, who's usually with us, happened in such a late night. He's out in L.A. He's not with us tonight. He'll be back next week. But he's realized it. I think a lot of people in Chicago, aside from maybe Ryan Poles, have realized Velus Jones is not an NFL player.
Oh, Richard Hightower still hasn't figured it out. You know what I mean? Like, that's the. And listen, I'm all for you. That's your guy. And more than likely, I think this is probably a situation where Ryan Poles trusted his coach on a name, and that coach beat the table to say, we have to have this guy here. He can be. And that's the only thing I can think.
First offensive player picked. I think maybe that's.
Yeah.
He's clinging to it.
Could be that. I mean, you're going to give him every opportunity. But here's the problem at this point, right? Like, I've seen you get rid of guys that weren't good players. Not Tyrod Taylor, PJ Washington.
Walker, yeah.
PJ Washington as a basketball
player, yeah.
PJ Walker, right? He's no longer here.
Yeah,
and
he's early. Chase Claypool.
Yeah, and he's no longer here. You cut ties with him early. Like, I get it. You selected this guy, but my God, that was he's bad.
It was brutal. Good. Was it the worst Velus Jones play? It might be. It might be the worst one.
He's cost you games. That didn't cost you a game.
But it was an obvious
scored a touchdown on that drive.
That's fair. Fair point. All right, that about does it for us, folks. Want to say thanks to Jake Cantu and Kendra Smith for producing this evening. We'll be back next week, breaking it down on the post-game show, as always. Matt Eberflus, don't forget, joining Waddle and Sylvie in just over 12 hours from now. He'll be on at 2:10 later today here on ESPN 1000. Pat, the results sucked, but it was fun hanging out with you for a couple hours here.
It's always a good time, man.
All right, so we will do it again next week, and keep it locked here for all your Bears post-game coverage right here on the home of the Bears, ESPN 1000.
Right now.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government